What's going on, YouTube? Hey, Big Dick Donnie, I don't think you could hear me before. Sounds like I was muted. How you doing tonight? I'm excited for the season. How you doing tonight? I'm excited for the season. You can hear me now. How's it going? Yeah, I had myself muted for a second there. Still trying to figure out all the technical kinks. It's a little bit of an echo. All right, I'll bring it a little closer. That should be better. The closer I am to the mic, the less reverb I'll have. That should be better. The closer I am to the mic, the less reverb I'll have. What's going on, fat guy? Oh, perfect. We got chat up too. It's good to go. Who's the MVP this year? Fat guy, that's a good question for you. But let's take a look at our sheet. I'll kind of show you who the top overall guys are coming into 2019. On the defensive side of the ball, it's hard to argue with Aaron Donald and Von Miller as the two best players. Not too far behind him is Khalil Mack, Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly, as well as J.J. Watt. It's hard not to go with Aaron Rodgers every year, but I don't know if the Packers are going to win enough games for him to be MVP. I actually haven't looked at the MVP odds. We might as well take a look at that. Yeah, Mahomes is the favorite. Luck is a good candidate. Yeah, I guess A-Rod, it really does depend on his health. He's the third best at 10-1. Baker Mayfield at 11-1 is... I don't like that bet. Carson Wentz, he had his run 2 years ago. Breeze is an interesting one. I don't even know. Has Breeze ever won the MVP award? He won the Super Bowl MVP, which is probably more important. But yeah, he hasn't won MVP. Let me just quickly take a look at our projections right now. You gotta like a guy like Jared Goff. I'm sure the odds are pretty good on Goff too. It's just hard to think that he could have an MVP caliber season. But at 40-1, I do like Jared Goff. I love defensive guys too, but Aaron Donald to win, oh. I remember Fat Guy and we bet Michael Bennett to win Super Bowl MVP, and he made a huge play that game. They ended up winning the Super Bowl, and who actually won that Super Bowl MVP? Was it the linebacker? Was it who won Super Bowl MVP? Why don't I like Baker to win it? To win MVP of the entire NFL? I just don't think he's good enough yet. I'm not saying that Baker couldn't win it one day, but it's his second year going into the league. He's got a new receiver in Beckham. That offensive line isn't good enough. So he would have to play really, really, really well to do that. And it's going to be hard with the protection he's going to get. The one thing I will say, though, is Baker Mayfield is excellent in the pocket. He's excellent at moving around. Yeah, that was the year that Malcolm Smith won. Fat guy, I can't remember exactly what we had. It was, what, 80-1? Or was it 101 for Michael Bennett to win Super Bowl MVP that year? Ugh, that was tough. That was a tough pill to swallow. One of the only years a defensive guy won. Von Miller as well. Other than that, like, you have to go back to whatever Super Bowl this is. Dexter Jackson had 2 first-half interceptions. But it's not that Mayfield can't win. It's just I don't like Baker Mayfield at as the 4th best odds. Only 11-1 to win, and a second-year player. Ugh. I don't know. I say that, and Mahomes won last year, but Aaron Rodgers is just a better player overall than Baker Mayfield. And it's hard to go against a guy like Brady. Like, Brady's 16-1. Like, these guys here, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Luck, that's kind of the range I like. And then for value plays, a guy like Jared Goff. And that's because, like, who's going to put up the most wins this year, most likely? The Rams. So Goff at 40-1 is pretty good. The Saints, Drew Brees. Drew Brees could easily win MVP. Like, he could win it any year, and it's surprising that he hasn't. So, oh, bad drop in the Raiders. The Raiders punting, or punt return team. Patriots as well, like Brady, you can't go wrong. Mahomes is a pretty safe bet, but he's also got the worst odds. Carson Wentz. Wentz kind of had his run 2 years ago. It'll be interesting to see if he can get back to that form. Roethlisberger is an interesting one. And so far, we're only talking about quarterbacks. Roethlisberger at 30-1. Ain't bad. It's easy for, like, any of these guys. Any of these guys can go off. I just don't like Mayfield as the 4th best odds. Big Dick Donnie, who do you like for MVP? And Joseph Simmons. And keep in mind too that this Baker Mayfield stuff is coming. It's coming from a fan. Like, I'm a Browns fan. I want Baker to do well. Mic check 1 2. I think the Steelers will drop off a bit this year. Yeah. Right now, we have them winning the division with 9.63 wins, but we don't have Cleveland too far behind at 8.26 wins. So we still have Pittsburgh as kind of like a win and a half better. But the odds favor Cleveland. The odds makers have Cleveland as the team to win that division. I just don't know if Baker Mayfield winning 8 or 9 games is gonna be MVP caliber. If Cleveland goes 13-3, and it's because they're scoring 35 points a game, it's gonna be hard to argue. I just don't see that happening. So guys, on the screen in the background, you can see I got the Chiefs Bengals game up, but on some of my other screens here, I've got the Raiders Rams as well, so I'm just watching. I don't have sound on that game though, so I'm just kind of going off what I see. Looks like Mike Glennon's in at quarterback. Richie Incognito is looking huge. Not suited up today. Ooh. Glennon with a duck just pulls it down. I really like Andrew Luck to continue his progression from last year. Yeah, it's so nice. It's tough. Luck's just been hurt so much. I wasn't even sure if he was going to come back and play last year, and he finally did, and he looked terrific. And you got to expect it's going to be better now. He's got a full off season to kind of work, get stuff done. Oh, it looks like we have Chad Henne in the game for the Chiefs. I'm guessing he is going to be the backup this year for Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully Mahomes can stay healthy, because I know the Chiefs don't want to go with Chad Henne for an extended period of time. I'm going to pull up Kansas City. Just take a look at their roster. It's hard to believe Chad Henne's already going into to his 12th season. Yeah, you've got Andrew Luck. I like that pick. I like Andrew Luck. That team is good. Let's see where we have them finishing. The only thing that's tough with Indy is their division is really good. Yeah, we actually have Houston winning the division right now, even though Indy is favorites, but it's really a coin toss between those two teams. But betting wise, value wise, you'd always want to go Texans at 3-1 rather than Indy at -125. But I do like Luck he could easily win MVP. He was considered the best probably the best quarterback prospect over the past 10 years. And other than injuries, like you said, you think his progression is just going to continue to climb, and it's hard to argue with that. All right. Watching this Chiefs offense, there was a drop from number 82. Looks like a tight end. Yep, Dion Yelder. First year UDFA from Western Kentucky, 6'4", 255 pounds, 24 years old. And number 42 on the Bengals is down. Figettleman? Or Figettelem? Looks like he's cramping up. Hopefully you're not cramping up this early into games. But I'm sure these guys are pushing their bodies to the limit right now, trying to make these teams. Some of these guys that are on the fringe, playing their first preseason game. See what the story is on number 42 on the Bengals. See if I can pronounce his name properly. Doesn't even look like oh, here we go. He's a safety. Clayton Figettleem. He's a fourth-year pro, 7th-round pick from 2016. From Illinois, 6 feet, 205 pounds. A lot of people are down on the Bengals this year. I just want a refresher where I've got them. Bengals to win the division. I just love whoever's last in the AFC North every year and who can win the division. Because I just feel like that division is so close all around. Like, we actually have Baltimore as last place in that division, and that team is good. They did lose a lot of pieces, though, on defense, but offensively, it's going to be interesting to see how successful they are. Not exactly the prototypical offense at the moment, but ground and pound with thunder and lightning, I guess you can call it. Yeah, it's just hard to trust Dalton. Dalton's been up and down in his career. And at 14-1 for them to win the division because of Dalton. Like, what if he has a good year? What if he does play well? They've got the new offense there and the new coaching staff. It might be a coaching thing with him. There might be a lot more success with Dalton in this new offense. I believe it's a Rams, the old Rams quarterback coach, if I'm not mistaken. Zach Taylor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zach Taylor's the old coach. Yeah, the Rams quarterback coach last year for Goff. Tutelage under the Rams coach, Sean McVay. Yeah, it's been tough to trust AJ Green health-wise. He hasn't stayed healthy. Like, I want to see how many games AJ Green has missed over the last few seasons. Yeah, he missed 7 games last year, and then he missed 6 games in 2016, 3 games in 2014. If his pattern continues, though, he plays all 16 games every second year since 2013. He's already hurt, isn't he? Yeah, ankle surgery. He's going to miss regular season games, so it's a sure thing. He's probably not going to come back healthy enough to be the difference maker that he can be. Big Dick Donnie, what are you most excited for the upcoming season? We've got fantasy going on. We're going to have our picks contest going on BigRyanTheFatGuy.com. We're just getting the website started up. The skeleton is there, but we'll have things sorted out pretty soon. Yeah, he'll be back week 6. It's just tough, man, to get an ankle injury like that and come back and think that you're going to be at peak performance. It's just not going to happen. That's tough for him. I'm going to have to update our rating system later to make sure I take him off to start the year. It'll be interesting to see how far AJ Green slips in fantasy because of that. It's going to be hard to take him. You want to see the Browns surprise everyone? I just don't know if they're going to surprise anybody. They were good to finish last year, but we still don't know if Freddie Kitchens is any good. It'll be interesting to see, like, with a full training camp, if he's able to install an offense that is successful. And that offensive line interior is good, but I'm not sure about those tackles. They even traded away one of the best guards in the league to get Odell Beckham, which I wasn't too crazy about. Darwyn Thompson with a carry, looking shifty. Sixth-round pick from this year for the Chiefs. Yeah, but the supporting cast around Baker, they should put up points for sure. Their division doesn't scare me. Yeah, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens. They are the favorites. They are the favorites to win that division, so better than 50% chance they win. Which, when was the last time you could say that about a Browns team? Or sorry, they're plus 120, so just under 50%. Yeah, they did. They lost a lot of experience on the defense. But the Ravens might be transitioning into something. Yeah, Lamar Jackson can't throw. That's the one thing, is if they get down, they're not going to be able to win games. Like, you are right. Like, if Cleveland gets up on them early, it's just so hard for them to come back in games. But if they can control the pace, he's worse than Tebow. Yeah, maybe. Jackson's got a little bit of power to his throws, though. But it's a fair comparison. It's just going to be interesting to see if they keep the ball on the ground between Jackson, Gus Edwards, and Mark Ingram. That running game can be scary. It's, at least for a playoff team, it can be scary, but they're not coming back in any games. Oh, wow. Darwyn Thompson just fought through, and the offensive lineman Murphy, or sorry, Jimmy Murray, just chucked him. It was quite the funny run. Never seen that. Jimmy Murray threw Darwyn Thompson for an extra 5 yards. Or I guess I'd say pushed him. They could run a pistol-style offense and play keep away. That's really their only chance of winning. It's kind of shitty that that's their one strategy, but if they can do it better than teams can stop it, it'll be trouble. That's the one thing, though, is that the NFL got to see what Lamar Jackson can do last year. And this year, it's not going to get any easier. Teams will be ready to play them. But there's going to be matchups where they're going to give other teams a lot of problems. And the defense, they lost a lot of players, but it's tough. Am I playing the Niners game? Yeah, I'll be flipping back and forth between all the games. That Niners game's going to start pretty soon. I believe it's at 6 p.m., right? Z Potter? Yeah, if they stack the box, there's not going to be much that there's not going to be much that they can do. Yeah, the Cowboys 49ers game starts at 9, it looks like. Thank you, Z Potter. Or sorry, at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'm probably going to jump over and watch the start of the Niners game just to see what starters are playing. Get a look at them and then flip between all the games. that game hasn't started yet, so I'm going to continue with the others.
This year, don't just dream about it.
Looks like there was some sort of defensive, maybe an interception off Mike Glennon in the Raiders game. Yeah, a really good interception by number 25 on the Rams. You need to see the first 2 drives? All right. I'll keep it on for you for those first 2 drives at least. Try to give you some insight into what's happening. Yeah, I hope Jimmy G bounces back too. They do deserve a good year. I love Kyle Shanahan. I love Garoppolo. I think he's going to be a good player. It's shitty that he's coming off that injury. Like, we'll see if hopefully he plays today. Get to see like a look at how he's doing. I'm live up in Canada. I'm actually in British Columbia, but not too far off from Arizona and Cali. Kittle will be really good this year. I think he's the second highest rated fantasy tight end at the moment, behind Kelce. Like, I think he might be actually in front of Ertz. I'm going to pull it up and just double check. Zoom it in for you guys. I love Fantasy Pros. Definitely a top 5 tight end. Yeah, he definitely is. Let's see where he's listed right now. So he's actually in 12-team leagues. He's a second-round pick, tight end 2. He did play really well last year. Let me just check his numbers. Oh. George Kittle's one of those guys that's sorry, just getting distracted by the Raiders-Rams game. Kittle will be really good this year. Yeah, definitely top 5 tight end. Zed Potter says, because it's almost 6 here in Arizona, so I just figured you were around here. Yeah, same time zone. Same time zone as British Columbia. Just a little bit north of you. Big Dick Donnie said, that's too high for me when I can get Olsen in the 4th round. Yeah, the fat guy and I took a really interesting strategy last season into fantasy that worked really well for us, and we went tight end early, and we tried to pick up as many tight ends as we could to kind of corner the market, and it worked out really well for us. You kind of want to get one of the first guys, or you wait till essentially the end. But if you think Olsen's going to be one of those top guys and you can get him in the 4th round, then do it. Kittle, he had 1,300 yards last year, 136 targets, 88 receptions, and most of that wasn't with Jimmy Garoppolo. Only 5 touchdowns, but that should come up. Garoppolo is going to be a lot better in the red zone than anybody else is going to be. Hunter Henry looked good in camp. I'll be saving a late pick for him. Yeah, if Hunter Henry's going late, I would be all over that. Right now he's 66 in the big list. So in a 10-team league, he's a 6th-round pick. Sixth tight end. It's nice that he's pretty much had 2 years to come back from that injury. So he should be good to go. That's why like guys like him and Luck are good. Thanks for the heads up. 6 o'clock. That game's probably about to start. I'll throw that on for you. I hear the anthem being played. Anthem's on. I got the game on for you. Z Potter, you watching from work? Where are you today? What do I think we see from Carr this year? From Derek Carr, I think we're going to see a small improvement from last year, but he hasn't been good under Gruden so far. And I don't know if that's Carr or if that's Gruden's coaching. Yeah, all good, Zeb Potter. Let's see. I could probably help you out here. If you go there, you'll be able to find some links to the game. That way you can actually watch the real thing. He hasn't been the same since his injury, just not the same quarterback. He showed so much promise in his first few years. But then last year, like the problem last year, it just killed the fat guy and I, because we were betting a lot of Raiders games because there was lots and lots of value, but they just disappointed every week. And the reason why is like Carr just kept checking down. Like think about how many games Jalen Richard had like 12 targets or 10 catches, and you're just going like I get if that's what what they're giving you, but it just seems like there was more on the field that he left. The addition of Antonio Brown should help that, and that could be an absolute disaster too if Brown's not getting targets down the field. He's not going to be happy, but who knows if he's even going to be playing at the start of the year with all the stuff that's been going on with him. I don't know if this is old footage, but they've got Garoppolo in a t-shirt. So it looks like we might be getting Nick Mullins. Gurley scares me as a Rams fan. Not sure he'll be the same. They were just so peculiar with how they handled him last year. Like, he pretty much just immediately stopped playing. And it seems like the type of, unless they weren't forthcoming with the injury, like if it is that bone-on-bone stuff, it simply seems like a pain injury for Gurley. And maybe there's more like long-term ramifications if he is playing. Yeah, they're limiting him at camp. The thing with it's weird to call Gurley a veteran player, but he's a guy that just doesn't need to play in camp. He needs to be in shape so he can play week 1, but him not being in camp is actually a good thing because they have other guys there that need the touches. Like, I think it's Darrell Henderson, the rookie running back. Like, he needs touches. He needs to learn how to play because there's a chance that he might be playing a lot. That's why I had him last year in fantasy, and Gurley's like it's like having cheat codes when you have him playing in a fantasy league. At least the last 2 years. And I picked up the rookie that they had from last year. Let me just pull up who that was. And I was so upset that they didn't play him down the stretch because I kept him as a handcuff on my bench the entire season. And that's John Kelly. Because I thought John Kelly was going to play. I would draft Gurley in the first round because there's just so much potential for him there. But it really depends who else is there. Yeah, Zed Potter. Unfortunately, I can't show the full game or I risk being booted off Twitch. But I did send you that link. If you click on that link, you can go to any of those pages and be able to watch the full game. But I'd have no problem drafting Gurley in the first round, but there's other guys that are, to me, more sure. So it just depends who's taken. Like I ideally want to get one of the top running backs, and he's one of the top guys. But if another, like if you got Ezekiel Elliott or Le'Veon Bell or probably not David Johnson, maybe David Johnson. David Johnson's gonna have a promising year. But there's a lot of, there's quite a few good running backs that I'd want to take probably before Gurley. But I'd still rather have Gurley than almost anybody else. You think we see Goff come into his own this year? I think last year he came into it. If he makes another step forward, that's going to be unreal. And if he does take another step forward for that team, like 40-1 odds for MVP is crazy. All right, Z Potter, we got the game is on, and Dak's actually starting out here. I think we see Goff. Yeah, aside from the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is tough. I'm not going to put that on Goff, though. I'm going to put that on Sean McVay and the coaching staff. Because they made him look really good all year. Like, better than he probably is as a player. But they didn't make the necessary changes in the Super Bowl. And it makes Goff look bad. It hurts that Gurley wasn't 100% and they couldn't do everything they wanted with him. And then CJ Anderson was just limited in what he could do. But they played the Patriots played that game like they wanted to grind that game out. Good completion from Prescott to Gallup. Number 23, Witherspoon on the coverage. Let me pull up San Francisco's roster for you, Z Potter. And that was a Kello Witherspoon with the coverage on Michael Gallup, getting beat there on a comeback route. Dallas was a team when we originally did our rankings was actually number 1. But that's because they're just so strong at certain positions. Prescott goes to Gallup again. Really nice coverage from number 41, Emmanuel Moseley. He's a first-year undrafted free agent from Tennessee, 5'11", 184 in the San Francisco secondary. But they throw the flag for pass interference. And looking back again, I like the call. Moseley had his arm hooked the entire way down the field. Are you guys going to try any new systems this year to have a better year? Well, we've made tons and tons of improvements to the system that we do use. So we've got this system here where we rate all the players. You can kind of see from this here. So we've got all the players here. We got them all rated. And we've put so much more research and development into this program, and hopefully one day we'll be able to share it with you, Donnie. We've come up with some cool things that we are going to do this year to help you guys out, but it's taken us, we've been doing this since 2014, and every year we just put in a little bit more to make it a little bit better. But between this and the market factors, those are the two things that we focus on. And we're thinking the next thing we're going to do is to implement the market factors into this sheet. So when we know the market factors plus the teams and who's playing, we'll be able to tell you right away what the best bet is and how much to bet and what you'd win, what you'd lose. That way you guys can put your own feelings into this sheet. You can tell me who you think's good. Like, you might think Richard Sherman's way better than a 77. Historically he is, but he's going into his 9th year. He's 31 years old. It's starting to get on the wrong side of 30 for a corner. Technically the right side of 30, but the wrong side of age for cornerbacks. Dallas is driving. We got number 36 at running back. I don't see who that is quite yet. Looks like Pollard. Gallup, Tavon Austin, Randall Cobb. Get to see Randall Cobb in a Cowboys uniform for the first time. They've got Tavon Austin split out wide. Another reception for Gallup, but a really good tackle by number 57 from San Francisco. Let's see if I can pull that up. Yeah, Dre Greenlaw. He was a 5th round pick this year for San Francisco out of Arkansas, making a really good tackle. A tackle he should make, but it's still a good aggressive tackle on Michael Gallup, who was making a drag from the south. Or making a drag from the slot. Oh, Prescott gets the ball tipped, catches it, loses a yard though. Big Dick Donnie, formerly known as DK, by the way, the OG. Yeah, the one exciting thing that I know a lot of people didn't like last year was we didn't have a leaderboard. So this year I've become a lot better with Google Sheets, and we're going to have a leaderboard. So I would suggest use your YouTube name or use your Twitch name, enter the contest, make your picks every week, and see if you can beat us first of all, and then beat everyone else. It'd be pretty cool to see who can have the best picks this year overall, because that's something none of us got to see last year. I was too lazy on the back end to do all the work to add everybody's stuff up. Joseph, you think the 49ers will be the surprise team this year? It's hard to argue. They actually played quite well considering the quarterback loss last year. Everyone had high expectations last year. I think the expectations are actually better this year for them. And it's because of what you said. They can surprise this year. Let me just double check where we got them at. I've been working so much with the player side of things that I haven't really had a chance to sit back and just look at where we have teams listed. And it's always changing. With suspensions coming down and guys getting hurt, these numbers are always changing. And we have San Fran winning just under 8 games this year, which would be, I think they'd just slightly be out of the playoffs. Yeah, we have Philly as the 6th wild card seed. Yeah, so there's still, that's the thing about the NFC, is it's going to be tight. Yeah, you got San Francisco as a stacked team. Let's take a look at the ratings that we have for San Francisco. I'm just going to pull up the guys we have playing at the moment. It's a little bit easier for you to see. So we got Jimmy Garoppolo as an 82, which is it's a good player. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo is a good player. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes back after injury to play. The addition of Tevin Coleman's a good addition. Him and Breda are going to be a nice 1-2 punch. McKinnon's still an unknown. McKinnon might be the best at all three when healthy. I think the Cowboys got a field goal. I didn't catch the end there, but on 3rd and 4, Prescott threw the ball, had it tipped, it landed in his hands, and he got tackled for a 1-yard loss. On his self-reception, yeah, the Cowboys settled for a field goal. So the 49ers held them in the red zone, and part of that was that really, really nice tackle from the 5th-round linebacker, who is probably not listed on here at the moment because he's probably not going to be playing too much during the regular season. So Cowboys are kicking off right now to San Fran. I'll see if I can catch who's returning. Number 32. Sorry, guys, I got to pull off playing time percentages here to see. It's a touchback, so they did have DJ Reed back there, the 5th-round corner from last year. 5th-round pick from last year by San Fran. Yeah, McKinnon, well, he came back for, I think, a day, and then they already had him back out, not playing. He had to get some sort of like shot in his leg. I'll pull up what happened with McKinnon after. I just want to see the start of this drive. So Nate Mullins is in at quarterback. Nate Mullins played surprisingly well last year for him, and an excellent touch pass. A really bad drop though. I got to see the replay on this, but this is a crazy play. Mullins threw an absolute beautiful ball on a play action rollout to number 13. I think it's Richie James, but when he hit the ground, the ball came out. I don't know if they're going to call this a reception. It's either a fumble or an incomplete. And then number 30, if I'm not mistaken, that's Anthony Brown, picks it up. And then even he got the ball punched out of him on the return, but he stepped out of bounds just before it got punched out. I'm confused by the catch rule here, because James makes the catch, but he comes to the ground, and the ground forces the ball out without him being touched. So to me, it's an incomplete pass, because he catches the ball and he falls down and the ball comes out when he hits the ground. To me, it's an incomplete pass. Like, I don't know if you could call that a football move. I'll pull up what's going on with McKinnon for you. Big Dick Donnie, you probably already know, but obviously I don't. I remember he was getting some sort of like injection. Yeah, he received a platelet-rich injection in his surgically repaired knee. And he's going to be sidelined for 2 more weeks. And they said they're going to be patient with him. So I don't think he's going to be ready for week 1. I don't think they'll put him on IR. It just depends on how this recovery goes. But they might. Yeah, they called that an incomplete pass. I agree with that call. He didn't have it long enough to really... Like, usually you have to keep the ball coming to the ground. That infamous Calvin Johnson catch in the end zone where he dropped it getting up. And Richie James, he was going pretty fast there, but you gotta keep that ball in. But it popped out once he hit the ground. We get to see a run from number 31 on San Francisco. Let me just double check. It's Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert is excellent with the ball in his hands, making plays, and he's getting paid quite a lot of money, 2.9 million average. Holy, that's way more than I'd think if you had me guessing. But he just can't put it all together. Where's the fat guy at the hometown buffet? Unfortunately, the fat guy's working tonight, but I'm sure he'll be well fed at home, or well fed at his work. The fat guy will be on most of the time. He'll be the one doing all the talking. I'm trying my best here, but the fat guy he's the talker between the two of us. I'm the penner teller, whichever one's silent. Incompletion by Nate Mullins there. Nate Mullins with a good pass though, and I agree with this call. It was a pass interference. Mostert with another carry. He's hit. I'm guessing with Mostert playing that Breida and Tevin Coleman are both healthy scratches today. The Cowboys have a nice team. Like, the Cowboys just overall have good players all around the field. Especially at linebacker. That's a scary linebacker combo with Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith. And the ghost of Sean Lee, if he ever decides to play. It's tough to think that Sean Lee is just not a tough player, but there's not many linebackers that get hurt, and he's just a guy that gets hurt all the time. My opinion on Dak is that he's been really good. He's just been a good play. Like, he wasn't a highly drafted guy. He won that job, and he's just been good. Like, he's not a superstar. He's not, like, he's outside of the top 10. There's guys you'd rather have, but with what the Cowboys are doing, like, Dak Prescott he's enough. Let me see if I can pull up Pro Football Reference has this AV stat. Kind of gives you an idea of how well a guy has played. And like, an average quarterback will be at about 7. And like, the best guys are in the 20s. But look at, like, Dak's been a 16, a 14, and a 14 in his 3 seasons. Like, that's so impressive. He's played every game. He's 32 and 16. Like, yeah, Dak Prescott is just underrated. He's 32 and 16. And it's not like Jason Garrett's like a world beater when it comes to coaching. But he wins games. A lot of people like, Dak isn't a guy you want in fantasy. Neither is Alex Smith. Like, you don't want Dak Prescott or Alex Smith in fantasy, but right now, Mostert got hit. It looks like there's an injury for number 78 on the offensive line. Sean Coleman, the X-right tackle for the Cleveland Browns. That's not a guy that you're going to miss. it's tough to lose that depth on the offensive line. Right now, they just went to a screen to Richie Brown, a wide receiver screen, but it turned into no gain. I didn't catch the Dallas corner or linebacker that made the play, but they got there fast. They've got Heavenly, who's stepped in. Oh, sorry. I don't know what I saw there, but they're highlighting Willie Beavers on the offensive line. 4th round pick from Minnesota back in 2016. A good throw and a good catch from Richie James. Nate Mullins to Richie James. They get about an 8-yard gain there on an extended slant. But that was 3rd and 8. They gain 8. 3rd and 9. They gain 8 yards, and they're going to be punting here. Back to Dallas. I wonder how much we'll see of Nick Mullins today. They also got CJ Beathard. I wonder if he's dressed. I'm sure he is. But I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of Wilton Spite today, the first-year quarterback out of UCLA. It's hard to think of Jimmy Garoppolo as a 6-year pro. Played in New England, behind Brady for a few years. Came to San Francisco. Had a lot of success at the end of his 4th season. Re-signed for big money. $27.5 million makes him one of the top paid players in the league. Never mind top paid quarterbacks as well. There's high expectations for Jimmy Garoppolo. It'll be interesting to see like how much he progressed with being injured, being away. Like, will he be as successful as a guy like Luck was last year coming back from injury? I'm not even sure if Garoppolo is 100%. Like, if he's healthy and I'm Kyle Shanahan, like, I want to see him play. Like, I want him getting game reps. I'm going to pull up the Garoppolo's updates. Or his recent updates. So back in the end of July, he's fully cleared for training camp, so he's healthy enough. His surgically repaired knee was hardly noticeable during the off-season program. These are all nice stories, but until we see him play, you just don't know. Yeah, in his first 5 years, he's only thrown 361 passes. Like, even 2017, he only played 6 games. He was lights out in those 6 games. And then he only got 3 games last year. Like, he's only played 9 games as the guy. Just getting back from a commercial break. Prescott is out. Cooper Rush is in for Dallas. 6'3", third-year quarterback out of Central Michigan. Turn the game audio up just a
I'm really excited to watch DeMontre Moore play tonight. He's playing left defensive end on this play. Gets a great squeeze on the tight end, is able to disengage and get in on that tackle with Marcel Harris. Can't draw it up any better than that. Good job inside of him by Julian Taylor. Pushing the line.
Number 92 there from San Francisco. The edge player hit a really good play. DeMontre Moore, ex-Giant. 3rd round pick from 2013. Had some good seasons. A guy like him should be making those kind of plays in the preseason.
Yeah, zone coverage. You'd like to see your linebackers, Mayo in particular, along there with Dre Greenlaw, just get quicker depth.
Dak will have a breakout year this year. He's like, it's hard to say that Dak hasn't had a breakout year every year he's played. Like, he hasn't put up crazy numbers. Like, he's not fantasy. You're not excited about having him in fantasy, but like his win-loss record is 32-16 in 3 years. That's so impressive.
So if he makes this team, he got
that's like he's winning 10-11 games a year for 3 years straight. That's unheard of. There's not too many players that can say they've done that. Funny enough, Vince Young had a pretty good record and was out of the league not too long after. But Dak's got... It helps too, they brought in Amari Cooper as another target. He gets Jason Witten back, which is... That's a bigger deal than any of the stuff that could happen.
There's Wilson right there, former Boise Stater. I think he was a 6th-round pick last year. Was injured most of the season, so... He's looking to make this Cowboys squad.
And spent the year a year ago on injured reserve.
And Witten's looking good enough that they can get rid of a guy like Rico Gathers. Broken coverage from San Francisco here. Cooper Rush hits Blake Jarwin for a big gain. 20, 25, 30 yards.
Now the linebackers, they've really playing in tight. Dre Greenlaw right there, the play action.
They both linebackers bid on the play action. So kudos to Cooper Rush. I didn't see who's at running back, number 40. Excellent play action there. Gets them a big... San Francisco with an interesting 4-4 defensive setup here. They blitz from the outside. Dallas runs up the middle for a short gain.
49er defensive line, not just that the headliners, all the...
Joseph Simmons, why do you think Dak's going to have a breakout year?
Ford, they have 5 of them. That there's great depth on this defensive line. Sheldon Day is a tremendous player.
He sure is. Former Notre Damer.
I'm excited to see this San Francisco D-line play. So many good players on this defensive line. D Ford, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, as well as DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead. Overthrow from Cooper Rush. A bad overthrow.
Good coverage there from Emmanuel Mosley. Just right in the hip pocket of Devin Smith. I think Cooper Rush saw Tarvarius Moore coming over, and he just threw that one where nobody could get it.
Kello Witherspoon starting at one corner. Greg Maben at the other corner, and Mosley is playing in the slot. Kaywan Williams also is out currently.
Empty coverage, got to get some pressure here. Excuse me, empty set.
Yeah, finally having real weapons helps him. That offensive line coming back. Oh, a big miss by the left guard there on a late blitz. And with the pressure San Francisco puts on, Rush does a good job actually stepping away from the pressure and then throwing the ball away. 76 on that. Or sorry, it was the left tackle.
He's got to make that play. You've got to gather yourself. You've got to come under control if you're Emmanuel Mosley. He came so free, unblocked. Great call from Saleh.
Yeah. You see that a lot with blitzers. Like, guys just want to kill the quarterback if they overrun him. Dallas with a field goal attempt here, 40 yards out. Brett Maher just makes it. Looked like it was going wide for a second. I'm going to take a look at Dallas's weapons. Let's take a look. Running backs, receivers, tight ends. So, Ezekiel Elliott, we have him listed as the top running back going into 2019. But he hasn't reported yet, so this is definitely going to boost them down quite a bit if they have to start the year with Alfred Morris, Tony Pollard, Darius Jackson, Mike Weber. Mike Weber with the nice play action fake on that last one, a 7th round pick from this year. Get to see him play a little bit closer. At wide receiver, Cooper and Gallup look like the real deal. Elliott, well, I shouldn't say it. Cooper is a really good player. He's struggled with drops, but the guy just in college, he got wide open on every play. Like, I wasn't sure how he'd be able to come down with balls and contested catches, and he's not the best at it. Like, he's not in that elite status as far as that's concerned, but getting open, the guy's one of the best. Michael Gallup has had a really good preseason game so far with a few targets. Randall Cobb is a guy that, like, this is the weird thing about Randall Cobb. Feels like he's like 35 years old now. But that's only because he's played 9 seasons and he's been injured. But the guy's only 28 years old. Like, you think about a guy like Richard Sherman. Like, him and Richard Sherman seem like the same age, but Sherman's 31 and Cobb's 28. He's 3 years younger. Tavon Austin is a prototypical weapon, but I don't know how much he helps Dak. He's a guy that I would just run underneath at all times, dump the ball off to him. Like, he's not very useful elsewhere. Devin Smith, I kind of want to see Devin Smith play. I want to see how healthy he is. I thought he was going to be like one of the best deep threats in the league coming into the 2015 season. He was drafted in the 2nd round. The guy's just a burner. But who knows what kind of speed he has with the injuries he's dealt with. Everybody else here, I just don't know enough about. I couldn't tell you guys. And then at tight end, Witten. So you're looking at Witten, Cooper, Gallup, Cobb, and Elliott, ideally. And there's nothing wrong with those guys. Especially like Witten, Cooper, and Elliott, like 2 very good players and 1 superstar. And Cooper could easily become one of the best. Cooper is getting paid a lot of money though, so is Randall Cobb. Witten you can stomach because he's just a good veteran player. But Cobb at $5 million is a lot of money. Cooper at $14 million is a lot of money. Like, Elliott's only getting paid $6 million. No wonder he's holding out. Amari Cooper's getting paid twice as much as Ezekiel Elliott. To put it in perspective, it makes sense why a guy like him's holding out. Especially when guys like Michael Thomas just signed a $20 million deal. Like, he's resetting the market, not only for wide receivers, but for skill position players in general.
I remember his first start last year in the regular season against the Raiders, where he absolutely just torched the Oakland secondary. I was talking to Jimmy Garoppolo in the locker room before the game, and I said, "Tell me about Nick," because he had just been on practice squad. And he said, "Don't sleep on Nick Mullins," because this dude knows the offense like.
The problem with signing Elliott is they need money left over to sign Prescott.
Goes in long motion on 2nd and 7. Mullins looks his way, comes back to Toilolo. As Levine Toilolo, the former
Good completion to Toilolo.
And the 49ers have a first down across their 35-yard line.
That's a great example.
They will miss Zeke. Like, Alfred Morris, you're very limited in what you can do, and then I haven't got to see Tony Pollard or Mike Weber play as much, but there's a reason why they drafted those guys. Like, those guys are going to stick around. I like Darius Jackson, but Darius Jackson's probably not going to make the team. Neither is Jordan Chudden. So you're looking at Morris, Pollard, and Weber going into the season. I need to see Pollard and Weber play. They both look like they're both sub 220 running backs, weight-wise. It'll be interesting to see which one of those guys can kind of show themselves as a receiving back. There's going to be some value in whatever receiving back there is, because Dak's pretty efficient.
There are Stanford tight ends all over this field today, by the way. Toilolo being one of them.
Caden Smith, we'll see him later, the 6th-round draft pick.
But
Dalton Schultz of the Cowboys.
Elliott is a tough one. Like, Elliott's the best. He's just the best running back in the league. He's been very consistent every year he's played.
Owuzie with a tackle, that's Chidobe Owuzie.
I have known Chidobe Awuzie since he was 8 years old in Pop Warner football. He grew grew up in the San Jose area, went to my alma mater high school. He's a high
Like
second
for
round
Elliott,
pick of the Dallas Cowboys out of Colorado, and he is a gifted athlete.
like
and
just
very,
rushing
very
wise, he's
strong.
put up
He has
over
great
100 yards a
football
game.
intelligence. That's a great kid right there in the Cowboys.
And receiving wise, he's at 30 yards a game. So it's 130 yards that they've got to. It's 130 yards they have to make up between those three guys. I'm not saying they can't do it.
Yeah, good time for Nick Mullins here. Just a four-man rush running games, and the offensive line does a terrific job, and Cheeto is just all over that coverage. That's one thing about Mullins, and that's just perfect coverage. I mean, he did get away with a little grab there on the back of the jersey of Kendrick Bourne. If there's anything that Nick Mullins
So far, Elliott's not going to play. So you got a feeling. I couldn't tell you between Mike Weber and Tully Pollard who's going to be the receiving threat, but Alfred Morris is going to be playing kind of the first, second down role. Pollard and Weber are going to be playing those passing down roles.
And Wisnowski's not happy about that.
And it's going to make a difference.
After the draft and training camp,
They've lost Lance Awar to IR.
They hit and go sideways, or they just hit and squander with that end-over-end style of kick that he punts up in the air. He's going to be a big weapon, I think, for the 49ers this year, and that's why they drafted him in the 4th round.
Pick number 110, the highest drafted punter since the Jaguars.
But it's Joseph, it is tough to say they're not going to miss Elliott as much because rating-wise and how, like, running back is one of the least important positions to have. I'm going to preface it by saying that. But anytime you go from having a guy who's considered one of the top players at his position to a below average player, it's going to be, you're going to take a hit. They're just going to have to do it by committee. So it's going to be easier for defenses to kind of predict what they're doing by the personnel they bring on the field. Whereas Elliott, you can leave him out there for every down, and the defense doesn't know what you're going to be doing.
Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley in particular out of the slot.
Cole Beasley now in Buffalo. Second down carry for Jordan Chun. A first year back out of Troy.
We get to see the first carry from Jordan Chun, but he pretty much just runs into the line.
Practice squad. Marcel Harris came up from safety to make the tackle.
Safeties are going to have to make a lot of tackles in this scheme for sure. You see all the DBs in there in the mix. Dante Johnson, Marcel Harris, and Marcel Harris is a body rocker now. He got the opportunity to play last year.
Saying all that, Joseph, I have Dallas pretty highly rated coming into the season. Like at one point during the ratings, I had them as the top team. Like their offensive line is unreal.
Cooper Rush, and he puts that right on the money. Just an in-cutting route.
That offensive line alone is such a huge advantage to Dak. Like, let me just take a look at this offense. Like, this offensive line is unreal. Tyron Smith at left tackle. Second round guard Connor Williams. Travis Frederick. And Zach Martin. Hard to believe those guys are going into their 7th and 6th years, respectively. Both first-round picks. Both guys have played excellent. And then La'el Collins has been good, too.
Back where the Cowboys punted the ball.
Well, let's hope this isn't on the 49ers because it'll be a first down.
That was a 4th down and 3. If they were offsides, it'd give them a first down.
During the kick.
And then defensively, they're a good team, too.
10-yard penalty. First down.
They're still waiting for DeMarcus Lawrence to get back, as well as Byron Jones. They're both on PUP. But I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate to date. I haven't gone through transactions today.
One thing I think an observation of training camp this year under Kyle Shanahan is there's been a lot of situational football. A lot of scrimmaging with O versus D, a lot less repetitions in terms of the drills and drilling football. They're playing football in a very physical camp.
Austin Walter is the tail of the eye here. Mayfield, who is a slash tight end fullback, lining up in the backfield with him on a lead play. Big block there to pop it. Mayfield, a very intriguing player. Rookie free agent from
So we're getting to see
blocker. You could use him
running
as a
back
tight end
Walter
or
for the first
fullback.
time on San Francisco,
Yeah, he
number
does a good job
33.
here.
Just going to
Toilolo
pull him
gets a
up. I'm not
block, and then
familiar with him.
Beavers gets a really good block. Armstrong's coming on an inside stunt, and Beavers recognizes it right away and gets enough of a push that there was a running lane there for Walter to pick up some positive yards. Let me tell you about Andrew Walter. He tried out in the rookie minicamp and was just a tryout
Called him
player. And
Andrew Walter. I've got him listed as Austin Walter. 5'8", 202 pounds from Rice.
Andrew Walter is carrying the rock a lot. And let's remember, he's not small. He's just short. 5'8", 200 pounds.
Cowboys get a couple of field goals in the
He
opening
kept
quarter.
calling him Andrew.
49ers 6-0.
I'm just going to check this.
1 quarter done of preseason football at Levi's.
No, he is Austin Walter, so the play-by-play guy is just off his rocker. The more offensive weapons you have, no matter what position, the better you are. Yeah, it helps. It definitely helps, Joseph. But I'm always going to put the emphasis on like the offensive, defensive lines. Those are the guys that really put in the work. Like if he has an extra second to throw, it doesn't matter what receiver, what running back it is. Like those guys are all going to make plays. Like a guy like Amari Cooper, to have that extra second to get open for a guy who's already excellent at getting open is scary, and it makes it that much easier for Dak. This game is just in a commercial break, going to be coming back soon, but I'm going to quickly head to the bathroom. I'll be back in a second, guys.
Levi Stadium, as you know, Dwight Clark passed away last year of ALS, but his memories live on in Letters to 87, a wonderful collection of stories and essays written about and to Dwight Clark. One fan was so impacted by the catch that he named his two sons' children, Dwight and Clark. If you want to relive the moment or simply take a walk down memory lane, an incredible era, incredible man, check out Letters to 87. By the way, edited by Matt Mayoko, longtime 49er beat writer. Matt, I'm still waiting for my autograph copy.
Well, you're holding one in your hand. I think Matt will autograph it for you. He autographed one for me, and that was on Wednesday, Tim.
Dwight Clark Day was great out
August
there.
the 7th.
Yeah.
And Wednesday was a difficult day as far as injuries with the 49ers. That's the day that Nick Bosa went down to the ankle injury. Marquise Goodwin went down but came back in. And there was an assortment of injuries that day as Mullins throws the out, caught by Richie James Jr. for a 49er first down. So injuries are a big part of camp and the attrition throughout the roster.
Well, they've really been hit hard at the defensive line, defensive end in particular. And unfortunately, we just found out about another injury today. And Trent Taylor, the slot wide receiver who's having a very good camp for the 49ers, did undergo some surgery with a broken foot, and hopes are that he's going to be back very early in the season.
Well, that's a tough break. Trent Taylor had a battle injury last year with the back that got down into his feet after having a very good rookie year. He was going to be a big part of Kyle Shanahan's passing attack. For more on the state of the 49ers, obviously injuries and all, we bring in the 49er general manager. Do you know how to use the headset, John Lynch? You were in TV only 9 years. Austin Walter with the handoff. So we just heard about the Trent Taylor news, which is news to me, and Tim just dropped it. So Anything more you can add, sir?
Well, just it was a surprise to us all. I think he finished Friday's practice or Thursday's practice with a touchdown from Garoppolo, and then went in and got his foot checked. Apparently, it had been bothering him throughout camp, but you know, he was coming off the back injury. Never said anything about it. Wasn't limping, and you know, they, like Tim said, had a broken foot. They inserted a screw on Friday.
Joseph, you said Zeke makes them a next level team, though. Dak has enough weapons finally to handle the regular season. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. That is a really good way of looking at it.
A silver lining to that, John, is that it happened early enough where he is going to be back early, and I think you could say the same thing with Nick Bosa in his ankle injury, and I think the hopes are that he's going to be ready very early in the season also.
So still early in this game. Nick Mullins is still at the helm at quarterback. Dallas is up 6-0. Oh, and they've got John Lynch joining the booth. Be interesting to hear what he has to say.
Was tremendous. Our number 2 pick, and we are, you know, you got to take some positives, and the positives are that they will be back early.
3rd and 7, nice ball there for Nick Mullins, and a first down to Jordan Matthews.
Really good play on 3rd and 7. Jordan Matthews getting open. Looked good there. It'll be nice to see if he can make a resurgence. A guy who was super productive in his first few seasons in Philadelphia. And then after injury, always had a tough time. He made an excellent catch over the middle there for a first down on a 3rd and long.
How to be a professional for our younger guys, doing a nice job.
And you see those numbers, some prolific numbers, first couple of years in Philadelphia. Nick Mullins, John, has been on point in this game.
Well, Nick Mullins takes a hit, makes a bad throw, and the linebacker picks it off, number 57 for Dallas.
Yeah, and Mullins looked like he was getting hit right when he unloaded that ball, and I don't think he ever saw Griffin.
Got a little pressure in his face here, huh?
Did a great job getting in the throwing lane and getting that interception.
We'll continue our conversation with John Lynch when we continue from Levi's.
Mullins took a hit there trying to make a play, and it didn't work out for him. It was most likely the right tackle that got beat there. I wasn't sure if it was a right tackle or tight end. I only caught the tail end of the hit. You get to see a replay here. It's number 67. Number 51 made an excellent move on Dallas to beat number 67 and really caused that. And yeah, he did get the edge rusher on Dallas, number 51. I'll pull up who it was. But before I switch over, let me see who got beat. Number 67. So Justin Scully. He's a 6th-round pick from this year. He was lined up at right tackle, so I'm just going to update this very quickly. But Dallas is edge rusher. It was Kerry Hyder. Kerry Hyder's been a good pro for his first 5 years. That makes sense. Kerry Hyder makes the play and really does cause the interception. The crown of his helmet hit Nick Mullins in the elbow right as he was releasing that ball. The broadcast just in a commercial break is highlighting all the first-round picks they've used on defensive linemen. Part of the reason why I like San Francisco is Bosa, Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, and then traded for D. Ford. They're talking about it with John Lynch right now. John Lynch knows better than anybody. He played safety.
We felt very fortunate to be able to bring D in, and looking forward to getting him out on the field. He looked tremendous when he has been out there.
Good job by Cooper Rush there. Hits Darius Jackson on the flat. Darius Jackson makes a play. I like Darius Jackson. It's going to be interesting to see if maybe Darius Jackson will be that receiving back. But it's hard to put that draft capital into other running backs and think that you're going to stick around.
Chris Kasarik right there, who's coaching him. What an acquisition. He was defensive line coach for the Miami.
But if Ellie doesn't show up, there's probably still a roster spot for him. And here's another excellent run from him for the first down. Darius Jackson, that is.
Defensive front. Got a couple of former defensive players and broadcasters as well. So explain to our audience what the wide nine is, John.
Well, the wide nine, I think a lot's been made of it. It is a subtle tweak to our.
The Chiefs are up 17-7 on the Bengals. Just starting the second half.
Played in today's football, throwing situations, and that all it is.
And it looks like the Raiders might have just scored.
Lined up in 9 techniques, which is a little
Or
wider
been pretty close to scoring.
But we've done plenty of these before. I think the biggest thing is what Kasarik brings in terms of these guys playing down.
Darius Jackson with another impressive run.
He's a tremendous coach and going to be a big help for us.
Yeah, it's all about running and reacting. Here's Elijah Lee right there. There's a 9 technique. He's going to fly up the field. You're going to see the lane, and Elijah Lee's got to make this tackle. He ended up stunting Street to the inside, so Elijah Lee's got to be the force guy there on the outside. And if you draw it up like that and he's unblocked and he's in the backfield, John, you want to see Elijah Lee make that play.
It should be a tackle for loss right there.
Darius Jackson got enough where they'll...
Yeah, breakdown by Elijah Lee, the linebacker, going for the quarterback when the ball was handed off. And Darius Jennings took it, turned it into a 10-yard gain.
Is where an area where they will attack the defense.
Well, there's plenty. I mean, we'll get schemed up on it, and so. But you know, the nice thing.
Not quite 10 yards, 9.99 yards.
Particular defense. So you
looks like it's going to be
in terms of scheme, as to
second and 1
or
second in inches.
It, and we're going to have to adjust accordingly, but it will allow that defensive line, all those number 1s, to get after people.
The Raiders get the touchdown, kick the field goal. Kansas City has the ball at the start of the second half.
Reacting with your vision in terms of what you see and how you squeeze it as a defensive end. I think the challenges for it, to me, and I love forcing it all back to the inside guys with Buckner and those guys on the inside, but the challenge is some of the bootleg stuff and some of the Z reverse and the quick things that take time that come around the end.
The Chiefs quarterback was in number 9. I'm not too sure who it is. But he had a decent run there, but it looks like Cameron Irving was called for the hold. Looks like they have Cameron Irving playing left tackle, getting some reps in. I was wondering why he's in the game, but that makes more sense if they're trying him out at tackle.
Talk about Big Street.
Yeah, he's a strong football player. We drafted him in the 4th round. He was coming off that ACL.
Yeah, they got him playing left tackle this game, which is interesting.
We're thrilled with the way he's looking. Great versatility. Can play inside, outside.
He just got beat again.
700-pound squat. Is he the strongest guy on the team? Cooper Rush cocks and then gets pushed out and has to throw it away. Nice push there by the defensive front of Well.
San Fran brings the pressure and Cooper Rush throws it away. 4th and 2. It looks like Dallas might be rushing up to the line here to make this play. Yeah, nice interior rush from, I believe, number 77 on San Francisco.
Is a strong player. 7th rounder last year.
Yeah, Julian Taylor, second-year pro out of Temple.
You add all those guys to the guys you guys showed on that graphic. It tells you why we're so excited about that defensive line group.
Talk about Emmanuel Mosley lined up right here in the slot, nickel corner right here, and his opportunity that he's got before him.
This is 4th down. Cooper Rush will try to run forward, throw up the sideline. A flag is down. Maybe a hold in the 49ers secondary there.
They got Marcel Harris holding.
Came on somebody late in the middle of the field.
As Carl Sheffer's crew sorts it out, jump in on what Tim was asking you about Mosley.
Yeah, so Emmanuel Mosley was a free agent out of Tennessee who really showed well.
Fouls on the defense on the play. Holding number 36. That penalty's declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 57. That penalty will be
So at 4th and 2, they didn't make the play, but it looks like a roughing the passer call.
Take the hit on Dre Greenlaw.
They'll continue the drive for Cooper Rush and the Cowboys.
Yeah, can't do
Oh,
that.
yeah. Just a late hit from San Francisco.
Today's NFL, that is.
I saw this guy do that all the time and not get flagged. I saw you both do it.
It was legal then. Greenlaw will learn that, but
He's very aggressive.
They're joking
man.
about
You
it on
see
the
there. I
broadcast,
also saw him get caught in play
that they
action a
used to
couple
do
of times
that.
earlier in the game.
Yeah, they did used to do that,
Looked
but
like
they can't
Robert
anymore.
Sala's team was going to get off the field there, but a couple of penalties and the hit up on Greenlaw gives the Cowboys a first down. There's a toss to Jackson trying to get wide, and Greenlaw will make up for it on that play.
He is a
Greenlaw, who
short
took the
tackler.
penalty
You see,
earlier,
John, I mean, what
has a
you've
nice
seen
tackle
from
for the
him,
loss on
coming out
Darius
of
Jackson.
Arkansas, and then so far in training camp, he's got a nose for the football. He'll just run the alley right there. That play identifies itself quickly. Guys don't get away from him usually when he gets his hands on you.
he's been all over the field. You see his speed. You see it right there. And I think you're seeing him awful excited. The play action got him a couple times tonight. But as they say, it's a whole lot easier to teach Woe than it is to teach Sikkim. He's got the Sikkim part. We'll get the details ironed out.
He doesn't play like a 4-7-3 guy, does he?
No.
Cooper Rush throws in a crowd and caught inside the 49er 20-yard line. Before we let you go, and I know we're giving you a lot on the injuries, but we were concerned that Sean Coleman got carted off the field. That swing tackle is very important. Any updates yet?
It certainly didn't look good. I think you guys saw what I saw, and you know, unfortunately, it looked, and I haven't got the reports. I'm going down right now, but it did not look good. It looks like Sean Coleman will be out sometime.
Third down coming up for Cooper Rush. The Cowboys have driven inside the red zone twice previously. The 49er defense has held.
Here's where you want to see somebody step up and make a big play.
Showing double A gap pressure from Greenlaw and Mayo. Mayo comes, throw for the end zone on the coverage there and got it away.
Good job, Dante Johnson. He was a good
3rd and 6.
kid.
Cooper Rush throws a fade
He was here before, 16-game starter.
to the end zone, but
He is, and we
no
needed
luck.
some depth at corner. Dante's come in, and he's been really good for us. Nice.
Darwyn Thompson just tried to go for the biggest hurdle I've ever seen. Problem was there was no defender
Talk about
underneath
the
him.
excitement level for you and Kyle and really everybody, and Jed York, the entire organization. Year 3 of your regime, and there's no question that the foundation is head and shoulders better than it was when you got here.
Yeah, it's time to go. We're a better roster. We're deeper. We just got to stay healthy and get there to week 1, and we like our roster. We like it a lot.
Maher's going to push that one to the right from
We got a
35. Again, very inconsistent.
A field goal attempt missed by Brett Maher.
Salah's fired up.
My favorite team for the last few years has been the Cleveland Browns.
I would tell you to stay healthy, but I'm going to tell you to
But,
get healthy.
Yes, that's
Gotta
right.
get this football team healthy. John, thank
I'm
you
not
so
sure.
much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
49er GM.
I'm going to be a Browns fan going into the season. It'll be actually be I'm being negative about it, but the Browns are my favorite team. What isn't to be excited about right now? I'm not down with every transaction they made, but it's going to be a good team. I kind of wish they spent more on the defense and less on receivers, but they did bring in good players on the defense too, especially Olivier Vernon. Darwyn Thompson has looked good for the Chiefs, by the way. He just scored a touchdown. So a little bit of recency bias there. But he had a good reception. Outran the linebacker. Got some help downfield with some blocking and turns it into 6. Who's replacing Peppers? Let me tell you. I'm fine with them losing Peppers. But it's going to be Demarius Randall and Morgan Burnett. playing safety. And then at corner, Denzel Ward for sure. And then probably, it depends how good Greedy Williams plays and shows. He made a really nice interception in the first preseason game, but he also had a complete breakdown in coverage that cost them a touchdown. So they might go with a more veteran guy like Eric Murray or TJ Carey or even Terrence Mitchell. Phillip Gaines. They got a lot of guys that have played a few years in the league, but ideally you have Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams as your outside corners. But most likely it's going to be Eric Murray. Like TJ Carey, like, look at this. TJ Carey's getting paid $7.5 million. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why they'd want to sign him to that kind of a deal, but that's what he's getting paid. I'm going to actually double check that because that does not seem right to me.
Yeah, Ross Dwelly does nothing but catch it. Mullins going to see a blitz come right in his face. An unblocked player there. Unloads it quickly. Down the seam, Ross Dwelly. Dwelly runs about a 4.9 and he plays at about a 4.6. I mean, seriously, and that's why he was a free agent out of San Diego. He gets open and he catches the football.
Former high school first baseman, tremendous hands. Here's Walter on the screen, and he's into Cowboy territory.
You watch Austin Walter, he was a rotational player at Rice. I talked about him getting the opportunity at the, rookie tryout.
TJ Carey got a 4-year, $31 million contract from the Browns.
The timing of the screen game for the offense has started to get in sync over the last week of practice. It's a nice positive gain there of about 9 yards.
And that takes teamwork in the offensive line and also great footwork from the
I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm surprised.
Such a great screen quarterback. There's a toss to Walter. He'll drop his head and run for the 49er first down.
Crack toss.
42.
Austin Walter has looked good as well for San Francisco.
Austin Walter took it up inside.
Kyle Shanahan is good with running backs. He's just been good at finding guys and getting guys to play well. He obviously liked Tevin Coleman when he was in Atlanta to spend the money to bring him over. Like, I wonder how much he got offered.
That's a tall order. He's never played left tackle ever in his life. Certainly didn't play it.
Tevin Coleman's got $4 million. Good drop off from Mullins.
Mayfield, the tight end. He plays half tight end, half fullback. Tyree Mayfield, we saw him in a great lead play with a bruising block.
Tell you, good pickup there in the pass protection by Brandon Wilds, who just got a uniform today.
He's number 35. Kyle knew him in Atlanta. They just signed him today. Not playing Matt Breida, not playing Tevin Coleman. We saw Mostert ever so briefly. Obviously, Jerick McKinnon will be out at least a couple of more weeks. There's the handoff to the aforementioned Brandon Wilds, who breaks a tackle. 49ers are inside the red zone.
They got Brandon Wilds playing, and they said that he just came in today, so that's the reason why I don't have him on San Fran's roster at the moment.
I believe that was Toilolo as well, who had a good block on the play. Just kicking everybody down. Bourne is able to hold up on the corner just enough, and Childs north and south downhill for a first down.
49ers are in the Toyota red zone. And they were working on the red zone a lot in training camp. Here's the half roll by Mullins, throwing wide open. It is caught. Deebo Samuel with a touchdown.
Deebo Samuel with a touchdown here.
Jalen Hurd with the touchdown.
You think Coleman takes the starting job? Yeah, Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman, I think, is the favorite as well. Breida's been good as well, but they paid Tevin Coleman to come be the starter. Like, Jerick McKinnon's getting paid $7.5 million. Coleman's been like a really good 1-2 punch with Devontae Freeman in Atlanta. But
He is every bit of 6'3".
he's going to use those guys to the best of their ability. Like, Coleman and Breda are both going to play. And when McKinnon's healthy, he's going to play too. McKinnon's probably going to be more the receiving back out of those guys.
Specialist he has to hold. So Jalen Hurd, who began in college as a running back, became a wide receiver. I think this time he was both.
You think Coleman will be good in PPR? Or McKinnon? I'd rather have McKinnon if I was in a PPR. But he'll get work for sure, yeah. Yeah, Coleman's the favorite for carries, but even a guy like him, like, if they have 400, 500 carries, like, Coleman will probably have half of those. And then the rest will be split between Breda and McKinnon. Like, they probably brought in Coleman more as, like, the early down kind of guy. He's even light for that. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I have to see McKinnon play first. Like, this injury stuff, and he's getting, you know, stuff shot into his leg this close to the season. Like, I just don't know. That might be a 2-year injury for McKinnon. But this is a backfield worth monitoring for fantasy. There could be value. A guy like Breida has been efficient. Like a guy that you can play and start the last few seasons.
Jalen Hurd with the touchdown a moment ago. He is from Beach High School in Hendersonville, Tennessee, where he was a tremendous player. Then went on to the University of Tennessee as a sophomore. In 2015, he ran for nearly 1,300 yards. But he decided he was taking too many hits, went to Baylor, and became a wide receiver in his 1 year there. And he's got a lot to learn as far as being a wide receiver, Tim, but you can see the physicality in his game, along with Deebo Samuel. We have a couple of real physical young wide receivers. Here's the kickoff by Wisnowski, taken out of the end zone by the Cowboys.
It looks like Jalen Hurd had the last touchdown. They announced it as Deebo Samuel, but they're talking about how Jalen Hurd got the touchdown now. It's an interesting draft pick for the 49ers. They took him in the 3rd round, which is relatively high for a receiver, but he only played 1 season. He was a running back, turned into a receiver. He had 69 catches, 946 yards in college at Baylor.
Every bit of 6'4". He's got the running back mentality, as you said. And I think what happened.
But yeah, 6'4", 227 is big for running back. I'm surprised he was listed there, unless he's grown since. But I don't know how much you grow from 20 to 21.
Here's Mike Weber, the Ohio State rookie. And a flag came down late from the linebacking level in the area of the 49ers defense. Now, you mentioned the term coding. All of football is based on the personnel groups you have on the field, how many running backs, tight ends, wide receivers. He can play any of those.
And like I said, it can be 21 personnel, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. It could be 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wides. And if he's on the field, you really don't know really how to code it. You can line him up in the backfield, motion him out, and if they want to put a linebacker on him in the slot, that's a mismatch. If they want to leave a nickel corner on him, you run a crack toss there and let him block, because he will block. I think they've been so pleased with him. Most of OTAs, he was dealing with a knee injury from last year, and he hit the ground running in training camp once he was cleared.
There's Cooper Rush throwing deep for Jarwin, just over the fingertips of the tight end. A seam route there. David Mayo on the coverage.
Mayo right down the middle of the field. That's that cover 2 beater. They take the tight end and run him down the middle of the field one-on-one against the linebacker. You'd like your safety, Marcel Harris, to be a little more on top of that with a little more depth. And you're right about David Mayo. He played a lot of football.
Seen quite a few drops today. Receivers, tight ends. It's kind of what you expect from preseason. But it just kind of makes you think how much of a gap there is between some of these backup players and the guys who are playing every day. It's another drop right there by Dalton Schultz. Tried to make a one-handed catch. It obviously didn't work for him. We got a 47-yard attempt by the Cincinnati Bengals kicker. And he makes it. So that game's 24-10 for Kansas City with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Derek Carr isn't dressed today. He's getting interviewed right now in the Raiders-Rams game. Good to see them playing on the dirt in Oakland. And Dallas is punting to San Francisco.
Does not call for a fair catch this time. 9 punt returns for a score in Washington. He'll keep it alive as long as he can, but nowhere to go.
Flag came in late.
Across the field where he first caught the football.
Dante Pettis, they have returning kicks right now. Just kind of surprising.
Pettis was just so-so as a punt returner last year. Let one get into his face mask for a costly muff, but he has tremendous skills.
Dante Pettis going to the season is arguably their top receiver. And they've got him returning kicks. They got him returning punts in the preseason. Which is, to me, it's interesting.
By the return team on the play. Holding number 36.
I'm going to quickly grab some more food, guys. Be back in a moment.
Number 53. That penalty is accepted. 10 yards. First down.
Zacho was called forward, core special teamer for Kyle Shanahan and Richard Hightower.
I think every preseason game I've watched here in the first weekend, special teams has been a debacle in terms of the penalties called in the open field.
McMullen's figures to play the entire first half, and then we'll see C.J. Beathard, Tim, in the third quarter.
And I don't think, I mean, a lot of people have talked about the battle for number 2 between C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins. Of course, C.J. being a third-round pick out of Iowa a couple of seasons ago. Remember, hurt his wrist last year in relief of Jimmy Garoppolo, and then Mullins got the opportunity about halfway through the season. Right now, I think it's pretty clear cut, at least from what I've seen, and that's no inside information, but Mullins' camp has just been tremendous, and they trust him.
The block in the back will be accepted, 10 yards.
They are going to take the block in the back because of where it happened. Mullins did have the 5 incompletes on the first 3 drives, but at least 2 were drops.
He's really, I mean, really one bad throw in this game, and that was the interception. I believe he was getting hit. And I think he just, the ball sailed on him trying to get it to Austin Walter.
And that's the one that Luke Gifford picked off. Here's Austin Walter. They're going to run an end around the other way here. And this is Deebo Samuel, the other rookie. He is the second-round pick out of South Carolina, and we talked about Jalen Hurd and how tough he is. This guy is tough to bring down as a runner as well.
Got an injury for the Cowboys, one of their linebackers on the field. Deebo Samuel, he did a lot of this in college, whether he was catching touchdowns, running touchdowns, even threw a couple of touchdowns. He is a phenomenal talent. And I mean, you saw there, he's hitting the edge on that Z reverse, wide receiver reverse, but he's going to be a guy that is going to relish going in between the numbers and getting dirty over the middle of the field.
As Luke Gifford, who was down for the Cowboys, he has been very impressive as a rookie free agent linebacker from Nebraska, and he's the one who had the interception. So Dennis O'Donnell, unfortunately, injuries are a big part of August football.
And yeah, Greg, and you know how Shanahan feels about preseason football, but having said that, Sean Coleman suffered the ankle injury. He's obviously out. Raheem Mostert evaluated for a concussion, and G.J. Jones has a knee injury. He is questionable to return.
On top of all the injuries that have been occurring as Gifford has to be helped off the field. Looks like he lost his footing there. Gifford is a guy at Nebraska that twice had hip problems and hip surgery, but former high school quarterback, and he plays sideline to sideline. I think he stood a good chance to make this team. You dropped the nugget on us earlier, Tim, that Trent Taylor is going to be out for a while. Kendrick Bourne moves in motion. First and 10, 49ers on their 40. Here's Austin Walter breaking tackles and spinning. Picked up about 7 yards. He's run the ball well tonight, but again, a flag is down.
Going to get a hold on the backside. Dallas is stunting their front. The 49ers trying to pick them up on the move.
Holding. Number 71, offense, 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Willie Beavers got himself a holding call. You see him out here at left tackle.
Grabbing Taco Charlton.
That happens every single play in the run game.
Beavers came in at left tackle and Sean Coleman had to be carted off with an ankle injury.
Big opportunity for him, and if Sean Coleman's out for a significant period of time, the 49ers need to find that swing tackle.
McGlinchey will be the starting right tackle and Staley the starting left tackle, who can back him up at both spots. Mullins gets hit. Ball is caught anyway. Flags are down.
Taco Charlton just bringing the heat off of the right side of the offensive line.
2 flags are
Holding.
down.
Number 71.
It's on Beavers again.
10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Beavers out there at left tackle. Taco Charlton takes an inside move, and Willie Beavers is beat, so he just takes him down.
So
sometimes that's not
goals.
a bad thing when you're beat that quick inside and your quarterback's a sitting duck back there. It was about preserving the QB there.
That way you save the down, so you get first down over again, but it's first and 29. There's a punt draw.
Thanks for your patience, guys. I'm back.
Defensive front of the Cowboys all over him. That's Dorrance Armstrong, the second-year defensive lineman from
It's nice to have football back on. Nothing better than watching a bunch of football games.
Also broke his hand in camp this week.
Yeah, Najee Torin, they got caught with a stunt up front. Armstrong, who was a fourth
Still got to
pick
eat.
and played a lot last year, started at defensive end, waited for his D tackle inside of him to flash up the field. He came underneath and hit the draw right in the mouth.
So Robert Quinn will not begin the year. DeMarcus Lawrence trying to get over a shoulder injury. They don't have Tyron Crawford as well tonight. And a big time now for Taco Charlton to finally emerge, the former first-round draft pick. Austin Walter on the 2nd and 31 carry. Now it's 3rd and 26. We're going to have the 2-minute warning here. Not a favorable down and distance. There's a play caller.
It looks like there was a
26.
turnover in the Chiefs-Bengals game with the Bengals defense making a play.
So 2-minute warning here, 49ers.
Oh, we got a Nathan Peterman sighting in Oakland.
Jalen Hurd have the lead here with 2 minutes to go in the opening half at Levi's.
I actually like Nathan Peterman. I think he's better than he's played, but he's played terribly in regular season football. There's a penalty though on the Chiefs in the Chiefs-Bengals game, so this might be coming back. Holding on the Bengals, I'm just not sure if it was after the throw. Really nice interception by a linebacker. Looks like Nickerson, 56 from the Bengals. And then after the play, there was a hold by another one of the linebackers, number 45. Do I think the Cowboys D will be elite? I think it's going to be very good. I think it's probably one of the most underrated defenses. A lot of it hinges on like DeMarcus Lawrence's health, because he's the best player on that defense by far. But like on the interior here, they've got Malik Collins, Tyrone Crawford, Antoine Woods, Christian Covington. Like these are all really good interior players. And then they spent a 2nd-round pick this year on Tristan Hill. So they've got 5 guys on the interior. And we saw Kerry Hyder earlier this game. He's kind of like a tweener between a D-tackle, edge guy. Kerry Hyder is a good player too. Like, there's 6 good D tackles. We haven't even talked about these guys. DeMarcus Lawrence is one of the best pass rushers in the league. Like, DeMarcus Lawrence is just an absolute game wrecker. There's some... there's been some games where he's just been unreal. Like, unreal. Like, arguably the best pass rusher in the league in those games. And then you've got Robert Quinn, who's had very, very good season, like all pro seasons. We just don't know what version of Robert Quinn or how healthy he'll be. And then Taco Charlton, first round pick from 2 years ago in 2017. Coming into his 3rd season. There could be a jump here from him too. They've got nice depth on their front 7. Because, like, these 3 guys, like, arguably this is the top trio of linebackers in the league. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of 3 better linebackers. Not every team plays 3 linebackers, but, and Sean Lee probably won't play, but Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith are very, very good. Leighton Vander Esch had one of the best rookie linebacker seasons I can remember, other than Darius Leonard, who played lights out last year. And actually won Defensive Player of the Year. Or, sorry, Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. At corner, Byron Jones is like a borderline superstar. But then, the rest of this, there's questions here. George Ioka is a nice veteran piece that they added at safety. I'm just trying to see if they've spent any draft capital. It doesn't look like it. So it's the secondary that really it falls down on. But I'd much rather have the front 7 that they do in a weak secondary than the other way around.
Huge year, I think, on tap for Kittle. There's Shane Day sitting in between Beathard and...
Like, on pass rushing downs, this team's going to be dangerous.
Mullen said he has helped all the guys tremendously with all the little details, in particular with their footwork. And if they get their footwork right...
So, I'm not going to say that they're going to be an elite defense, but they're right up there. This team is, it's great at every place. Like, as far as offense, defense, and special teams go.
And 5/10 of a second for Wisnowski. We will see him, Tim, easily eclipse 5, maybe 5.5 seconds this year.
Ironically, their weakest spot is at head coach.
He's got a helicopter punt. He's got the end-over-end punt. He's got the rugby punt. He's got English on everything.
The banana punt.
He's got it all.
I want to see the banana punt.
And he's an athlete. I mean, if you get somebody running one back on him, he runs 4.7 Australian rules football. He's not going to be afraid to go mix it up and get a tackle.
He's going to create some muffs this year. 49ers need more turnovers, certainly. Almost an INT there, but the ball was fit in there to Cedric Wilson.
Half a step later,
Safety number 36 tried to make a play on the ball, just missed out. Dallas picks up a 10-11 yard chunk. We get to see a 2-minute drill from Cooper Rush. 2 for 2 on his throws. Bad drop by number 81 on the Cowboys.
He sure is. Marcel came in just laying out, trying to get in and knock this football out. Separate the receiver from the ball.
Really good. Actually, he made the catch, but whoever the linebacker or safety was, number 36, Harris, on San Francisco, made the play. Break it up.
49ers round 6 pick back.
And who's 81? John Vay Johnson, first year UDFA receiver. Didn't quite make the play there. He made the catch, but it got jarred loose by a really good hit by Harris, number 36 on San Francisco.
A lot of uncertainty about the deep secondary for the 49ers this year. Jimmy Ward, of course, with a broken collarbone in May. They are hoping he is able to make Tampa in the start of the year. Jaquaski Tart figures to be the strong safety. But they just got to stay healthy, Tim. They had so many different combinations last year, I lost track.
There was not one game through the course of the 16-game season where the top 5 cornerbacks that started the game ended up finishing the game. There was an injury every game in the secondary.
8 different combinations they used.
And there's the guy they're hoping can really step forward.
That's quite the interesting piece they just talked about in the broadcast, is that San Francisco had a guy in the secondary get injured in all 16 games. That's pretty unlucky.
Well over a 40-inch vertical jump. He's long. He likes to mix it up in the run game. It's just about getting comfortable in terms of his alignment and assignment.
The ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass.
Carl Sheffers was called over under 2 minutes, and they looked it over, and John Bay Johnson did not possess that football. Jason Garrett, in his final year as a contract with the Cowboys, he's been under this kind of pressure earlier in his Cowboy run. He does not have a contract beyond this year.
Has a new offensive coordinator too, and Kellen Moore as Scott.
If you're a Cowboys fan and you want a good drinking game, drink every time Jason Garrett claps.
Formation. Cooper Rush check down here. And a short gain by the back Jordan Chun out of Troy.
And that's how it's supposed to work. Cover
Jordan Chun, the
rush, make him get it
the
out.
undrafted free agent running back on Dallas, is thick. He's 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. Made a good catch there.
Stop with 1:11 to play in the half.
Manuel Mosley with a lot of action tonight, whether receivers he's covering are being targeted or he's been in the mix in the run game.
He's got man coverage here on Cedric Wilson, following him to the right slot. 3rd down and 9. Rush looks left. And that's close to a first down. Again, he goes to the tight end, Blake Jarvis.
Rush has been good in this game. Cooper Rush, the quarterback.
Elijah Lee right there. Elijah in a trail position and just
like he just let's see, first option, second option. He actually went back to his first option and made the throw. That's really good.
Cooper Rush finds it.
Stood tall in the pocket. Kept his eyes downfield for a strike. It's a really good play from Cooper Rush. It's been a good 2-minute drill so far. He checks it down again to Chun. Chun, 2 impressive catches. Makes a mistake there though. Gets tackled in bounds. Really good play by number 41 on San Francisco. So Dallas has to hurry to the line. They still have 2 timeouts left. Oh, a quick hitter pass. They're going to have to get to the line quick again or take a timeout.
Cooper Rush is on point.
Number 47 Lee on San Francisco doing his best to waste the time, and Dallas has to burn their second timeout. It was a tough play for them to make. He threw short of the sticks. So now they're 3rd and 3 from about midfield.
Cooper Rush, likely Jason Garrett, will play Mike White, a second-year quarterback from Western Kentucky, in the second half. They are young though. Behind Dak Prescott, they don't have a veteran quarterback on the roster.
I'll tell you one thing is they've got a lot of guys up front in terms of depth on that offensive line. And this is the second crew out here for the Cowboys, and a lot of those guys have logged a lot of starts in pro football.
Johnson goes in motion. Greg Maven is following on 3rd down and 3. Caught by Johnson for the first time.
That was good. John Bay Johnson made the catch that time. Pretty much the same. I'm not sure if it's the exact same route, but it was the same break coming in. They've been having success with these outs. There's 20 seconds left. It's like 2nd and 5.
Pretty amazing, and he'll be a lot in their 2 tight end sets when real football gets here. The Dallas Cowboys and Jason Witten.
Let's see if the Cowboys can get their kicker one last shot. I know Mayer missed his last one.
Dallas Cowboy uniform for year 16.
Looks like Casey Redford.
Yeah, they're up to the 35, so they're within field goal range.
Mayer would handle all the placements tonight. Did miss one earlier. He made his first 2. 2nd and 5. Rush is poised in the pocket. He hits Johnson on the sideline.
Cooper Rush has been really good on this.
They'll give him the catch on the 49ers 17-yard line. First down, Dallas.
He hit him for about an 18-yard out.
You better have tight coverage in support of that.
John Bay Johnson makes an excellent catch on the sidelines. Hand catches it, gets both feet down.
Greg Maven. And you said it earlier, and that guy is a smooth route runner. Poor man's Isaac Bruce.
Good protection from the Dallas offensive line, allowing Cooper to stay in the pocket and step into that throw.
Free agent from Toledo. 15 seconds to go in the half. Cooper rush. Pressured by Moore, throws low, and a catch is made there by the back Jordan Chun. Did he catch it or not?
Chun actually looks like a very competent receiving back, and at 230 pounds, you wouldn't expect that.
May have been better for Jason Garrett and the Cowboys.
Because I'm not sure what the best receiving back is on this team, but this 2-minute drill from Chun has been impressive too. It would have been actually better if he didn't catch this ball, but he makes a really difficult catch.
He gets a hit on Cooper Rush just as he's unloading the football. Again, I think for Robert Saleh, you don't want him to score, you don't like him getting yards, but having situational opportunities to defend the hurry up for a lot of these young players out there, I think is money in the bank.
Cowboys, Tim, don't have any timeouts left, so this has to go to the end zone here. Cooper Rush back, will throw, and just throws the ball away in the vicinity of Blake Jarwood. And now they'll bring in the field goal unit with 4 seconds to go in the half.
And Demontre Moore on the quarterback again. Montre's had some good
Cowboys just run out of time.
And I think Robert Saleh was excited to watch him play in this game tonight. There he is out at right end going against Cameron Fleming, and really has a bull rush and is able to get to the edge. He's pushing him right down the middle and then gets to an edge and gets a hit on the quarterback.
It will be Maher who will kick the field goal here.
Good to see Maher again.
Fleming was a starting tackle.
Spade from 25 and 40, missed from 35. This one's good. So they take the lead, 10-7 going into half.
And the Cowboys have a lead at halftime of 9-7.
Raiders-Rams games in the fourth quarter just started.
What the head coach has to say about the first half, Dennis O'Donnell.
Did not allow, the 49ers did not allow the Cowboys into the end zone, including first stringers.
Yeah, no, they did a good job keeping him out of the end zone, which was good. Gave him a few penalties, but I was happy they ended up holding him to field goals.
And Jalen Hurd, we've heard about him, we read about him. He looked like a running back under the end zone.
Oh, he is a little bit of one. He's also a receiver, so it was good for him to get open on that bootleg, and there's a few guys at the goal line, but he's a big dude and a good guy.
This commentator is just making a joke how Jalen Hurd looked like a running back.
All right, Dennis, Jalen
It's like, yeah, he played running back. And you know that. That's the only reason you're saying that.
Dallas field goals, and they have a 9-7
What a
lead.
clown.
Stick around for the NorCal Toyota halftime show. Dennis will be back with a conversation with 49ers second-year wide receiver Dante Pettis. Touchdown 49ers. Jalen Hurd gets.
And I'm sorry, I said they went up 10-7, but they went up 9-7 with that field goal. I'll be back in a moment.
This is the Toyota Halftime Show. is the Toyota Halftime Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Halftime at Levi's Stadium. And after kicking the wheels in the free agency, 49ers decided to build the receiving core in-house with what they had. They acquired 2 receivers in the draft. We saw one of those in the first half. But a second-year wideout, Dante Pettis, San Francisco is looking for a breakout season from a second-year receiver. And who knows, perhaps another 49er record.
Your 5 touchdowns
And I'm back.
were most for a rookie in franchise history. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Now that I got food out of the way, I can be a little bit more focused for you
Jerry
guys.
Rice.
I don't know how, but yeah.
Right? That must make you proud.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. It is only a, rookie record, but like, I thought it was pretty cool still.
In defense, Jerry Rice did drop a lot of footballs in his rookie season.
He fixed it. So.
If Jerry's watching, sorry, man, I had to mention that.
Jerry, my apologies, but Pettis, pretty good company when you consider Gene Washington, Terrell Owens, Dwight Clark, Jerry Rice, and John Taylor. Dante owns the record. Back in a moment.
I'm going to switch it over to one of these other games. I'm going to switch it over to the Oakland game. I'd like to see, I'm guessing it's going to be Nathan Peterson.
Hey, yo, I'm out. I'm out to go play in the NFL. I got to go play for the Jets.
He's going to run it back across the 40.
Wouldn't mind getting to see a little bit
Durham, among others,
Nathan Peterman.
I remember that a first AAF game was against Salt Lake City. It was a week after Super Bowl. I turned on the TV and I said, "Who is that? He is swinging."
Yeah.
John Wolford.
During the return of the kick, personal foul, grabbing the face mask, receiving team number 32, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Do you think Zeke gets his contract done before the start of the season? Yeah, I do. I think they end up paying him. It's one of the richest, like, it's, if not the, well, I shouldn't say one of the richest owners, but team-wise, that team, the Cowboys, because of their unique deal with merchandising, makes the most money out of all the teams. So it's not so much a money thing, it's more like a cap situation. But Zeke's been too good not to pay him.
Giving us the $50 rebate.
Get rebates from SoCal Gas on energy-efficient natural gas products. Not just the latest tech, generous too.
Gearing up for game day fun? Albertson and Barnes
But,
has everything you need.
like, there's
for a
places
winning
where,
combination. Head to our deli for a great
like,
selection of fresh sandwiches, deli trays, fried chicken, and wings. We even have delicious game day cupcakes. Fire up that grill for your favorite quality meats cut fresh by our skilled butchers. From store to table.
So Cooper's
Albertson and
making a lot of
Bonds has
money.
the winning game plan.
Tyron Smith,
Albertsons and Bonds, that was so easy. Now we're ready for
Frederick,
some football.
Zach Martin, Leo Collins.
You got ripped. Thanks. Off. You got ripped off.
Here's a good example, and Tyron Crawford is a good player. But you could find a guy.
Go to America's Best, where 2 pairs and a free exam are
You can find a guy similar enough to Tyrone Crawford where the drop-off isn't going to be as big, and you don't have to pay him $9 million.
Dude, I'm like 5 pounds, muscle through. It's not just a better deal. It's
Same with like Robert Quinn. Like, I do like Robert Quinn. He's been really good, but I don't know if he's worth $8 million
Good morning.
now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm from LR.
So there's 2 guys right there,
CSN, Los Angeles.
Crawford and Quinn, where you can find cheaper options. Sean Lee's a guy they can get rid of. That's kind of just dead money at this point. Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith are both better players and can stay on the field longer. This is the problem, man. Is like they're gonna have to sign Byron Jones. He's gonna get paid a lot of money. A guy like Chris Jones, like, they could downgrade and get a punter that's a lot cheaper.
It's the Rams and the Raiders here. 11:38 remaining, fourth quarter. Rams.
But it's not like they have a ton of large contracts. Their biggest problems is they got to bring back Dak. Elliott wants more money, and they also need to bring back Byron Jones, or it'd be in their best interest too.
Having a laugh at the fact that his team has given up nearly 400 yards defensively, but
Dallas is kind of, their roster is kind of really set right now. Like it is a strong roster. So to kind of build up to this pinnacle and then just not sign Zeke is kind of silly.
The head coaches will peek across the field and look at each other and just smile and nod. You never see that in the regular season because it's so competitive. And then also, Sean McVay allowing Shane Waldron to call plays. It reminds me of the NBA Summer League, where head coaches allow their assistants to run the game. It just gives them that experience. You don't see that during the regular season, but we get the
Rams Raiders coverage has a pretty low angle camera you're just not used to seeing. At least on that last play.
Missed the Rose Bowl a couple of years ago. He was dealing with a drug issue, had been arrested a couple of times, but for Wade Phillips today, 57, has had his name called a couple of times.
You know, that dynamic, you know, having the young boy genius, Mr. Doogie Howser himself, Sean McVay, have such a great start to his head coaching career.
He likes the Doogie Howser thing. Okay.
I just like calling him that, see if I can get under his skin.
Well run play by Oakland.
5 days a week on the show. I got to tear him down. He's handsome, life's good, he got the money. You know, I got to bring
Play action to get an easy 4 yards for their tight end for the first down. Doss. Keelan Doss, first-year UFA.
And he got to know he's nose bloody. You know, you walk in and
he would admit it.
You're riding high. Your offense has been fantastic. And Wade Phillips on the flip side, whether their stats didn't speak for it throughout the
They've got Mac Brown in at running back.
Played amazing. So I know deep down
and Nathan Peterman in at quarterback. He hit a strike on the last play. Hand off to Mac Brown. He picks up about 4 or 5 yards. Donnie, do you think that Zeke's going to get a new contract before the start of the season? I guess it's got pretty big implications for fantasy. From every pre-draft look I got, he's either 1 or 2 with Saquon.
An area they clearly focused on when you look at the signings, run defense, right? And knowing with Mike Kaiser coming in at inside linebacker, that's his specialty. That's what he's great at. So have him there on run downs could be tremendously helpful for this Rams defense.
They certainly hope so. 2nd and 5. Brown trying to get to the outside. Ramon Richards gets there.
Excellent tackle by Ramon Richards, number 47 on the Rams.
He almost had the corner there, and he almost had another first down.
Holding. Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. And repeat. 2nd down.
Yeah, Ramon Richards with an excellent tackle on Mac Brown.
Undrafted rookie out of Alabama.
Yeah, but to your point,
see, Mac Brown tried to beat him outside with speed and didn't work out for him. He needed some change of pace there to throw Richards off balance. Completely agree. If they don't pay him, they're dumb and their season would be over. He is the heartbeat. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. He kind of is the heartbeat of that offense. Like, other than that offensive line, which is really good, but I think the biggest problem Dallas makes is they just haven't put any they haven't been able to find any other guys to play running backs. Yeah, it's hard to argue between probably him and Saquon right now.
And I know they've been hearing all the conversation about the linebacker position. Of course, they want to make something happen. I mean, if all eyes are
to me, the toughest part is just the depth behind him. Like, they've relied so heavily on him. It's the same thing in Carolina with McCaffrey. They just rely on those guys so much to do everything. And they kind of neglected the depth at running back that so many other teams have. Like, look at the Raiders. Like, the Raiders spent a first-round pick on Josh Jacobs. Then they've got Jalen Richard, Doug Martin, Isaiah Crowell, DeAndre Washington. Like, all these guys can play. 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 5 guys that can play. And you're telling me that, like, Isaiah Crowell's getting paid $1 million. I know he's hurt, but if Isaiah Crowell's in Dallas right now, Ezekiel Elliott doesn't have as much, it's not that he can't hold out, but Dallas would care a lot less. It is a lot of depth. Like, I'm not saying I'm crazy about any of these guys, but between these 5 guys you can play. Like, look what Dallas has done. Dallas, like, when you look at Dallas's running backs, they signed Alfred Morris, who's a serviceable player, but he's very one-dimensional. And then Pollard, Weber, Darius Jackson, all question marks. And they had to spend a 4th-round pick on Pollard. They spent a 7th-round pick on Weber. They spent a 6th-round pick on Darius Jackson 2 years ago, who I would consider a miss because he hasn't played. Jordan Chun actually looked really good in that 2-minute drill. Like, he's the heaviest at all these guys. Like, he's 2 pounds heavier than Ezekiel Elliott, same size, and the guy had good hands. Like, he made 3 catches, and one was a really tough catch to make. That's the only thing I'm worried about, just because I don't know Pollard, Weber, and Jackson's okay, but I just don't know if any of those guys are receiving backs. And this goes with lots of teams. Like, let me just pull up. Like, lots of teams have depth at running back, because there are lots of guys that can play. I'll use the sheet.
And he was making the Rams re-kick on penalties in the 4th quarter on special teams with 3 minutes to go. And they're doing the wave here in Oakland. Not pictured. That's John Gruden. The look on his face there was because they were doing the wave. Sorry, not a fan of the wave.
I'm anti-wave too.
Thank you. There it is.
Come on.
Now,
So, like, even Arizona hit a home run with, yeah, they can bring back McFadden. Pretty sure McFadden, is he might be a free agent. I thought he might be on the roster. No. There's a chance they bring him back. I wouldn't be too excited about it. But, like, even Arizona, they got Chase Edmonds, who's a very serviceable second fiddle to David Johnson. In Atlanta, they've got Ito Smith, who's not my favorite player, but a guy that can get it done. Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, Kenneth Dixon, all 3 of these guys can play. Like, look at this depth. Sean McCoy, Frank Gore, Devin Singletary, and TJ Yeldon. That's pretty deep. Like, all 4 of those guys could play. And all 4 of those guys are 3-down guys. Like, I know you probably don't want TJ Yeldon first down, second down back, but he can do it. Carolina's the same way. Like, Artis Payne can play, but they obviously don't like him. They never gave him the reins, even though he's been there for 5 years. Even they brought in Elijah Hood, who had some success last year with the Jets. Chicago brings in Mike Davis and drafts David Montgomery to play with Tariq Cohen. Cincinnati has a really good 1-2 punch in Joe Mixon, Giovanni Bernard. Cleveland has Chubb and Hunt. There you go. Like, they could have brought in... I wouldn't be bringing in Duke Johnson because of his contract, but that's a guy they could have brought in as a receiving back. But not at the money. In Denver, they got 4 guys that can play. And Khalfani Muhammad played really, really well in the first preseason game. I'm not going to say he's going to be playing. And he's very, very undersized at 174.57, but he was impressive. He played very well in that Hall of Fame game. In Detroit, they've got Kerryon Johnson. Like, C.J. Anderson. They could have paid C.J. Anderson 1.5, and he would have given them more than Alfred Morris. But also keep in mind that they didn't know Zeke was going to hold out when Anderson was still a free agent. For Green Bay, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, both of those guys can play. Houston brings in Duke Johnson. So Houston had the exact same problem. Like, they've got Lamar Miller. If Lamar Miller decided to hold out, like, good luck with this crew. This is not a good crew. when Taiwan Jones is your best backup, like a guy who's been team to team and is more of a special teamer. Ugh. Right here, look at this depth. You want to talk about depth. Marlon Mack, Spencer Ware, who cares about Nyheim Hines, but Nyheim Hines is a receiving back. Deontay Foreman and Jordan Wilkins, like, yes please. Yeah, CJ behind the line would be nice. Yeah, that would be a tough team to stop. But the one thing I will say about Dallas is when all these cuts get made, Lamar Miller doesn't stay healthy. Lamar Miller's been surprisingly, he's played more than you probably realize. I'm going to check this up just for myself.
For a loss of 3. All right, now Shane Waldron let my guy throw a little bit.
Come on, we've seen him do it in the AAF, but
He might get hurt, but he plays. Like, Lamar Miller's missed 2, 4, 5, 6. He's missed 7 games in 7 years. That's not that bad. Yeah, Duke Johnson will be nice. If you think Lamar Miller's injury prone, though, Duke Johnson becomes a pretty valuable guy to have in fantasy. Let's see who else we got here. Jacksonville's kind of got the same problem. Like, Fournette is good, but with his injury history, you've brought in Alfred Blue, an injured Thomas Rawls. Benny Cunningham can play. They drafted Raquel Armstead, who I haven't seen play yet, but might be good. Kansas City has not great depth. Darwyn Thompson looked really good in the limited snaps I got to see him play. Chargers have, you know, maybe the best backup in the league with Austin Eckler. And then here's a good example. Here's the exact same problem. Melvin Gordon also didn't report. He's in the same situation as Elliott. But they drafted Justin Jackson in the 7th round last year, who's essentially plays the exact same role as Melvin Gordon. He's not as good, but at least he's serviceable enough where the Chargers are... Melvin Gordon's less likely to get paid than Elliott. Yeah, Eckler can ball. Alright, let's go over to the Rams. Like, the Rams have... All 4 of these guys can play. Kelly, Henderson, Malcolm Brown, and Todd Gurley. Miami's a little bit weak. I like Kenyon Drake, but apparently they don't. Kalen Ballage is just huge. 237, 6'2". Mark Walton's probably going to be more of a receiving back.
Check him out right here. Bachman going up and snatching that with your
Minnesota. Alexander Madison looked really good for Minnesota yesterday. Like, they might have found a good player here with Madison, a 3rd round pick from this year. But Cook and Madison's going to give them a nice 1-2 punch.
That's a great way to get your quarterback outside the pocket and free him up a little bit.
And then the Patriots got depth with these 3 guys. James White, Sony Michel, and Rex Burkhead. And then they bring in a 3rd round pick in Damian Harris, 215, 5'11". So between those 4 guys, they're going to have enough. Latavius Murray would have been a nice guy, but like at $3.6 million, it's too much money for Dallas. They need a cheaper option than Latavius. Like, a guy like Dwayne Washington could step in and actually, like, he played pretty well. He played pretty well yesterday. Chris isn't that bad. You're thinking Cousins is overrated? He's getting paid a lot of money. It'll be interesting to see his 2nd year in that offense and if it gets any better, because he wasn't good enough last year. He's And that defense, like that offense just needs to be serviceable. That defense is so good.
Get 0% financing for 36 months.
But that team just wasn't right last year.
2019 Nissan Rogue.
Hey, Ben. Throwing away your smart devices?
Yeah, no matter how many of them I buy, they're always...
For that money, he's definitely overrated.
Like with your Wi-Fi.
But he's still an upgrade over who else they had, just not at... He's never going to be worth the money they paid him. Yeah, that's a crazy stat, huh? His record against like winning teams or playoff teams, like he's won like one game in his career against a team with a winning record. Something insane like that. Even the Giants, like the Giants have Barkley, and they still brought in Rod Smith, who ironically was the backup in Dallas. But like all three of these guys can play. Like you want to talk about depth, look at the Jets. Le'Veon Bell, Ty Montgomery, and Bilal Powell, and Elijah McGuire. Talk about like veteran depth at running back. I think Adam Gase just wants to trade Le'Veon Bell. That's why he's brought in all these other guys. Bilal Powell, here's like, this would have been the perfect guy. If they brought in Bilal Powell, if Dallas brought in Bilal Powell, I wouldn't even care if they signed Elliott. And not saying that that's like a long-term solution, having Powell, because he's hit 30, but Powell can do everything. And Powell's been so efficient. Yeah, you like Powell too. That's the guy. You could probably like, they could probably trade for him. Like they've already got like two of the best receiving backs, and yeah, Powell's just good all around. Bilal Powell is like the poor man's Ezekiel Elliott. Funny enough, we talked about Oakland's depth. Here's another team that has crazy depth at running back. Like all of these guys can play. So this is like, I'm hoping this is what Dallas does, because Philly's gonna have to cut two of these guys. They're not gonna keep all six of these guys. Dallas will be able to sign a running back that's somewhere else right now and be able to plug him in. But it's tough. They spent 2 draft picks this year, and I'm actually happy that they drafted running backs, but like if their window is now to win, then you just gotta pay Elliott. Why not just pay him like a 1-year deal if you think this is the last year, and then figure out your running back situation next year? He probably doesn't even want a 1-year deal though. He probably wants like a 4 or 5-year deal. It's like NFL contracts are just so strange. Like to think that like Elliott is having a tough time getting a bigger contract, but a guy like TJ Carey on Cleveland, the corner, like a below average corner, he's getting $30 million for 4 years. I just don't understand it. Pittsburgh's got pretty limited depth. It's just Connor and Samuels. And Samuels is a good player. Connor's been very impressive his first 2 seasons. Benny Snell looked alright in his first preseason game. Seattle's got terrible. Like Chris Carson is a good player. Rashad Penny didn't show very well last year. He had a couple flashes, but not like he's a first-round pick. Like this guy should be playing every down, and there's no way he's gonna be playing every down. All these guys suck. Bo Scarbo's an interesting guy, and ironically he was with Dallas last year, but I just don't think he's good enough for the NFL. But like 235 pounds, 6'1". Let's look at San Fran. San Fran, like these 3 guys are all excellent. Even a guy like Mostert. Like, look how much they're paying these guys. With what these guys are doing, they might as well just pay one of them. Like, why isn't San Fran just trade for Melvin Gordon? Or trade for Elliott? Get rid of all these other guys.
Scoreboard has the Rams with one timeout, and our screen says none.
Here's probably the worst depth. The worst running back crew, these three guys.
Outside of the 2-minute window where these things are going to be automatic.
Derrick Henry, Dion Lewis. Dion Lewis is an interesting guy that they might be able to pluck away, but he's getting paid too much. And then like Washington just has silly depth at running back. Even a guy like Byron Marshall is good enough to be a receiving back. But I got a feeling one of these guys is getting cut. One of these four, most likely Samaj. My guess is they keep these three guys in Byron Marshall. But P. Ryan should be on the roster. Yeah. The running back, the weird thing about running back is that the value is just so different from team to team. Like, I don't see the Patriots trading anything to get Melvin Gordon. You know, they're not exactly stacked at running back, but they're like one of the teams that could use it. And then the teams that don't have, like, do you think Tampa Bay just doesn't value running backs at all? Like, is that why they're doing this? And it's not like Peyton Barber's on some crazy cheap deal. Like, he's getting paid $2.1 million. Let's sort all these guys by salary. So Elliott would probably be looking for like $15 million. It's pretty safe to say this is his range.
New Sichuan hot chicken for a heartbreaking limited time only at Panda Express.
Gatorade packs carbs to refuel.
I think Tampa's still in rebuild mode and doesn't want to part with their picks. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It still means that they should be... Well, they did spend the draft capital on Ronald Jones. It just looks like a miss. It's funny that these... It's funny that these two guys are the guys holding out. But they're good. And it just shows you like how much... Like, look at how much Jerick McKinnon got paid. $7.5 million for a guy that's... He's been okay.
Keep your phone, save your money. Switch to Spectrum Mobile.
Welcome to Life Drawing. Today's model is Jackson.
I'm a help a Honda guy. Would it be okay if Honda gave each of you $500
I wonder if Duke Johnson has a number yet.
Today we help some artists.
Let's get started.
And during the Honda Summer Spectacular event, we can help you too with a great deal on a reliable award-winning Honda. Right now you can lease a 2019 Accord LX for just $249 a month plus tax. And the Accord has been named the Car and Driver 10 Best Winner a record 33 times.
Do I really look like that?
Yes, you do.
I've never looked that good before in my life.
Trail 14-3. Check out 55.
Yeah, McKinnon was good. But I don't know. If you were a GM of a team, would you pay Jerick McKinnon $7.5 million? Like Mark Ingram was just a free agent and got paid $5 million, and McKinnon was a free agent. What, a year ago? He got paid $7.5 million. I'd prefer to have Ingram.
The couple. We talked to Cooper a little bit before the game, and he said Kettner's been crashing on his couch.
On his couch, he said he has a room for him, but he loves sleeping on the couch, which is a true college athlete, right? To stay in the common space of my home.
For no reason.
With your hot morning breath while I'm eating my cereal.
But remember, Cooper and Kettner now, third generation. Granddad played, dad played, dad is here tonight. This is great. I mean, to have both of your sons on the same field for an NFL game.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. You can't say it enough when you have, a set of parents raising kids and they're chasing their dreams just like their the father did and the grandfather did. The simple fact that they made it, regardless of what happens from this point.
It shows you why getting guys like Kamara on a rookie deal is so important. Like a third-round pick, and he's getting paid less than $1 million. I'm surprised Kamara's not holding out. Yeah, Ingram does have more miles, and he's older, so that's a fair point. But yeah, they did. They definitely wanted him. I'm telling you, Shanahan he's got a bit of an obsession with running backs. I do too, but at the same time, I just don't know how valuable they are. Yeah, they're going to have to pay. Kamara's going to be another guy that's going to be getting paid $15 million. Who else is pretty low? James Conner's pretty low. Kareem Hunt. You think Kamara's going to get max? Well, if Gurley's getting paid $14 million, you got a feeling Kamara would be pretty close to that.
The new guacamole double cheeseburger from Carl's Jr. is only $299.
It's $2.99. We forgot the decimal point.
Only $2.99 for a burger with guacamole? The latest charbroiled double deal.
Nick Chubb. So they got Nick Chubb for 3 more years, and he's only going to be getting paid about $2 million a year. Even Derrick Henry. Here's a guy that's going to get paid, especially if he plays as much as they're talking about playing him. Derrick Henry's going to get like $10 million a year. Yeah, I'm really excited to see Bridgewater take over for Breeze too.
Really?
Bridgewater is let me just double check this, but I'm pretty sure Bridgewater is the highest paid backup in the league.
Get the bottom line on the last of our 2019s, like the Tech Advanced Altima and Rogue. Hurry in for model year-end savings on our full line. Get 0% financing for up to 36 months on the 2019 Nissan Altima, or save up to $1,500 on kicks.
Teddy's the highest paid backup at $7.25 mil. And then you got Daniel Jones. Surprisingly, Tyrod Taylor's. I guess Tyrod Taylor is a starter. Chase Daniel. Josh Rosen, Haskins, Case Keenum. It's crazy, like you're looking at this list and every single guy on this list gets paid more than Dak Prescott. Alex Tanney makes more money than Dak Prescott. Kevin Hogan makes more money than Dak Prescott. Rookie Drew Lock makes more money than Dak Prescott. Josh Rosen last year made more money than Prescott did in 4 seasons. Bizarre, huh? It's bizarre to think about. I'm sure Dak's got some like bonuses tied to his contract, but still.
Thank you, Andrew. And actually,
it's just weird to think about.
Like
Dak's gonna get paid big bucks.
With that interception, and then this year you get it started. The preseason started with the interception and then the 39-yard run back. So take me through the play and what you saw.
Really, I just seen that it was an overset with a tight end on that side speed formation, something that we worked on a lot. Ended up just seeing, you know, the
like look at the range of guys that get paid the same as Dak Prescott.
Just continue showing my versatility and just making sure that I'm doing everything I can for this team to make it better.
Yeah, no kidding. The nice thing about like a quarterback is you're way less likely to get hurt, and even if you do get hurt, you can come back and play. Like Teddy's a good example. Like Teddy had one of the worst quarterback injuries ever, and he's still getting paid $7 million.
And in the meeting room, and you know, you just basically get a great glimpse of how to be a professional. So whenever you can just take that into a day-to-day, you know, basis and making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's easier said than done. You know, just go do it.
The interception was a bright spot tonight, so thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Steven, thank you.
It's just painful for you. You forget how painful it is for some of these guys to slide in the draft. Like if Teddy didn't slide, like Teddy was supposed to be the first overall pick that year. If he didn't slide, he would have been making $7-8 million off the bat.
for Jim Hill's exclusive interview. Magic Johnson. It's 60 years of magic. Coming up right now.
Luck's at a surprisingly good deal, huh? 24 million for him. When you start comparing, the top guys are getting 35. Guys like Brady. I have to update Brady's contract. I know he got a new contract recently.
Hello everyone, I'm Jim Hill, and tonight we celebrate 60 years of the man who has the absolute best nickname in all of sports, Magic. As Irvin Johnson Jr. turns 60 this week, we take time now to look back
Tom's
on his
right
40
up there
years
too.
here in Los Angeles. And what better place to revisit his storied life and career, one filled with adversity and glory, in the building where his Hollywood success story all began.
4 seconds, 3, gotta do something, Maz. 15-footer. Magic Johnson, a 15-footer at the buzzer.
When you first walked in with form, because I saw you standing out, you just standing outside by yourself, you probably had a whole lot of memories starting to come back, didn't you?
I did. You know, when you think about it, Jim, you know, 40 years ago getting drafted,
Welcome back to Levi's. Greg Papa, Tim Ryan.
Yeah, Sony Michel's going to turn up. I was so excited for Sony Michel and for Nick Chubb, and both of those guys did not disappoint.
Pick in 2018 at Western Kentucky. Did play before that at South
Both of them
Florida.
played so well. Chubb for the whole regular, or for the second part of the regular season, and Michel for the playoffs. The tough part with New England Patriot running backs is there's no consistency, right? Like it's game to game, whatever works best for the team is going to go.
Under center, he gets hit on the first play and coughs the ball up. Julian Taylor got it. He hit him from behind and forced the fumble.
Antone Exum on a safety pressure. Greg comes from the outside and spinal taps White and knocks that football out. You're going to see Antone Exum come from over here.
Let's see where we've got
Taylor from the front side. Jamel Garcia Williams, who was
Sony Michel.
play tonight, and a pass concussion protocol will get the loose ball.
I love those two bull rushes, Julian Taylor and
That Michel contract's going to be nice because they got him at the end of the first round, they'll be able to extend him for that 5th year. They probably won't want to pay him though. But who knows, if he's become one of those elite players, then it might happen. At least the team has that option, right? That's probably what Elliott's scared of.
Illegal contact was the call? Was there time for illegal contact in the secondary on that hit?
that's a shame.
Still good football, and they'll be able to evaluate that on tape. Nice run here by Mike Weber, the rookie from Ohio State, spinning out of the tackle.
Mike Weber made a nice spin move there to get out of it, the rookie running back for Dallas. But the thing that's shitty is he kept the ball in his left arm, even though he's running down the right side of the field. So he leaves himself open for fumbles. Plus, he completely doesn't have the opportunity to have a stiff arm. Those little things like that really ear me.
Absolutely, got to get into the positive side of the takeaway giveaway, and this team will end up where they want to be with a winning record.
More pressure here, another sack. As Mike White was under siege here.
Robert Saleh dialing up some pressure.
Oh man, Donnie, 6 a.m. Where are you watching? But man, you have a good night. I appreciate you sticking around and watching games with me. Always makes it more fun. But you got to be watching on the other side of the pond.
With the crown of his helmet, I think, and the receiver's down. There's Cedric Wilson on the in cut. There's a hold there, and then the big hit.
personal foul, illegal hit on a defenseless player. Number 27, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, and a couple things for Adrian Colbert, who they want to see get back in the mix. Mix a good portion of last season with a terrible high ankle sprain. One thing about Adrian Colbert now, he's not shy. He will want to come up and hit you, but you've got to be more mindful of the rules there. He dipped his head and hit Wilson in the head. You just can't do that in pro football these days. That's a penalty 100 out of 100 times.
And that's also a finable offense. Cedric Wilson, the second-year receiver at Preseason stage, Jason Garrett very concerned as he is still down. Now gets up to a seated position. Just so many defensive penalties. The illegal contact takes away.
Oh, what up, Mark? How's that show going? Who's winning?
Thought there might be a possibility Adrian Colbert has been kicked out of the game.
And that will not go a long way in helping Adrian Colbert reclaim his spot.
Mark, I figured out how to stream on both YouTube and Twitch at the same time.
Sherman does not agree with the call.
AC needs as many reps as he can get out there, trying to come back from that injury from last year.
What's happening?
And I'm telling you, in a real battle for a roster spot.
Well, Jimmy Ward is out right now.
Mark, you're at the show, right? You're at the contest?
Let's take a look and see. Is this so flagrant? I hit him in the chest area. Is
Yeah,
that
he
so
hit him in the
flagrant?
V of the neck, and if the V of the neck goes up anywhere near the helmet, that's going to be a penalty, and he dipped his head.
Well, Colbert is ejected. Mike White on the half roll will hit Weber. They back in the flat. Roy Reynolds, the 49er linebacker, will shove him out of bounds. So
Oh, yeah.
sloppiness tonight. Drop balls on offense, holding calls in the interior lines, and a lot of really debilitating penalties on the defensive side.
Absolutely. And you get an interception in scoring position on a bad throw from C.J. Beathard. You get a drive stopper on a sack force fumble by Anton Exum, and there's an illegal contact on the play.
Second and 10. Mike White looking out right. Nice adjustment on the ball, but could not make the catch. It's Johnson again.
I believe the illegal contact was on DJ Reed on the play that Anton Exum knocked that football out from White. Julian Taylor came up with the fumble recovery.
49ers now 11 penalties for 131 yards, but it's not just quantifiable by the yardage and the number. I mean, you had the ball in their scoring zone on that one that was taken away, and the Colbert play was a third down. You would have gotten the ball back.
That's right.
Play clock is down to 4. Dallas will call a timeout here.
Dallas, a 30-second timeout.
So obviously, now here's the sack as Julian Taylor with a great push from the interior line. Here comes the
You got it all.
Anton Exum.
YouTube, Twitch, Twitter.
Stop and go. Well, it was a stop and go right there on DJ Reed. A little stop and go. I don't know if he was sacked, though, before there was contact. I'd like to see that one more time if we could, because if that hit was, that ball was already dislodged before.
Might as well get that, too.
Illegal contact. That should not have been a penalty.
Let's take one more look and see when the hold occurs.
I think he's already hit. That's a bad call. I think Anton Exum was already on the quarterback.
Yeah. Huge fan.
Here's pressure again. They screen out and another big hit by the 49ers. You can see that they're playing much more.
And the 49ers defense is turning up right now.
Al-Shaair played for Lane Kiffin at Florida Atlantic, and he was a tackling machine there with the big hit. This defense is fired up now, Tim.
And he is all over the screen. I mean, Azeez Al-Shaair right there. He read that absolutely perfectly on Mike Weber, the running back. He just timed it up and gets himself a big-time tackle.
He had nearly 400 tackles at Florida Atlantic. Again, the head coach there is Lane Kiffin.
Azeez Al-Shaair.
Having Tommy John surgery in the offseason. Here's
First year UDFA making big play.
will let this one bound in the end zone for a touchback. And C.J. Beathard, the 49ers will take it on their 20-yard line.
Fat guy had to work tonight, so I'm rolling solo. How's that show going? What time does that show, the contest, go to? Is it all night? CJ Beathard into the game. I'm doing my best. I had a guy who's been following us for a long time pretty much hang out till just when you joined. He helped out a lot. It's easier when you have someone to talk to in chat rather than just spout out whatever's happening. Ooh.
Like he never got his feet set on that when he threw it so fast. Third and 10 for Beathard.
Deebo Samuel right here.
Here comes Jalen Hurd to his side. Two big physical.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Mark.
Now they're going to stack them. Play clock getting down to 3.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more fun to stream and to watch the stream for regular season games. Nice part is the Seahawks usually play late, right? So there's not that many games on. You can kind of focus on them a lot more than some of the teams on the East Coast. All right, Mark, have fun. I'll catch you later.
Clear look at it where they can overturn it. I've seen that a few times this weekend in preseason with these games.
He's laughing. He just wants to try out the mechanism here. Jason Garrett brings Carl Sheffers over to challenge the PI.
Dallas is challenging the ruling on the field of defensive pass interference. We'll review the play.
Now, they're not going to see a look on it here from this angle.
Beathard takes a hit as he delivers the ball. One thing, is it catchable?
No, it's definitely catchable.
As he bumps him off his route.
Definitely catchable.
Yeah.
Not going to see it from that angle.
Well, this all reverts back, as you know, to the
You're not
NFC.
going to see it from that angle.
Now, we don't have enough angles to the NFC Championship game. Bill Vinovich's crew.
It's hard in the preseason now with when you get into some of the. There's 25 cameras in the primetime games. This is the one you're going to get a look at it right here, the all 22. Definitely some contact right there, and Jackson did not have his head flipped to the quarterback. The ball was in the air.
So pass interference is still defined as an act significantly hindering the opportunity to make a play on the ball. Would you do that as pass interference? That's a good ruling.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
Jason Garrett all smiles with that challenge. These coaches are having way too much fun with this rule.
With their second charge timeout.
There's no way he could see that from his sideline over there.
Do you like this? I mean, this is a judgment call, pass interference.
My question is, what's next?
Holding?
What's next?
Bill Belichick wants everything challengeable.
It's actually better if you make everything challengeable, because then people aren't going to be challenging every single play.
Debo's out there. Did he reel it in?
Really good catch by Deebo.
I love that. Goes up against a bigger corner in Mike Jackson and takes.
But he got hurt on that play. Beathard underthrows that ball. Deebo Samuel does such a good job coming back to the ball, though, to make this catch and to fight it away from the defender. I believe he called him Mike Jackson, the corner. That part is good by Beathard, but he's got to, if he throws that ball 5 yards further, it's a touchdown. And also Samuel doesn't have to take a huge hit.
That is a great illustration of C.J. Beathard, his ability to drive the ball down the sideline. Get just enough air under it, giving his receiver Deebo Samuel an opportunity to make a play, and Samuel made a great play.
30 seconds to go in the third quarter. We're going to play off the 4, second and goal to go from the 5-yard line. A false start here.
That's a killer again in scoring position on second down.
64, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Gurley. So many penalties.
That's double-digit penalties. Got to be 11 or 12 penalties.
13 or 12, 12 for 136. That changes your play call, doesn't it? From second and goal from the 5 to second and goal from the 10. 49ers do not have to snap the ball before the end of the quarter here, and I think they're going to let it run down.
There's the future right there. Jalen Hurd and Deebo Samuel in terms of the wide receivers.
This is the end.
They've been talking nicely about Hurd and Samuel. That was a really impressive catch by Deebo Samuel. I can see why they've been talking about Goodwin not as nicely. Second and third round picks. It'll be interesting to see how that settles as far as playing times go. Let's take a look at Fantasy Pros and actually where they have all these guys listed. So we'll start with Deebo Samuel, who's wide receiver 71. Jalen Hurd is wide receiver 125, so they don't think he's going to be playing. Let's check out Marquise Goodwin, wide receiver 61, so they still have him over top of Deebo Samuel as far as production is concerned. They have Pettis as the wide receiver 1. So I'm actually going to bring Goodwin down a little bit. Let's take a look at Trent Taylor. Trent Taylor they have actually quite low. Let's take a look at Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews they have quite low as well, but he's a guy that could be playing. Deebo Samuel's going to be good. Pettis, Goodwin, Samuel. And then I'm actually going to be putting Matthews down a little bit more. Matthews has been so productive though over his career. I'm going to give him the bump over Hurd and keep him where he is. Trent Taylor's played as well, so is Richie James. They got a lot of depth at receiver. There's no stars, but they've got 7 guys here that can play. So we got Beathard in the red zone, second and goal from the 10. Poindexter with the catch there. Sean Poindexter, 23-year-old, undrafted free agent, first year in the league. He is huge, 6'5", 218. Jalen Hurd's big too, 6'4", 227.
So 1 touchdown every 4 catches for Sean Poindexter. And
some really big receivers that they have, at least at camp. And they got Poindexter listed or in the slot. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw like a fade to him. Yeah. Not the guy I called out with Poindexter, but they do throw the fade to Hurd. And they're using his 6'4", 227 frame. I gotta fix these playing times as well. So they've got Pettis playing. I don't think Goodwin's gonna be playing every down, but he's still a good player. I think. I think that's how it's going to break down. I think Pettis and Samuel will probably be the 1-2 with, I'm going to still give Goodwin the, and I'm going to give these two rookies 15%. Pettis, Goodwin. I'm just going to break these guys down just a little bit. Bring these guys up just a little bit. They have used high draft capital on these guys. Oh, out of bounds. It's a 40-yard penalty. That's a special teams coach that is very mad, but he has a right to be. For touchbacks, just kick it straight out at the end of the end zone. Dante Johnson with excellent coverage there. Excellent coverage. Number 78 with a sack on San Francisco. Which is definitely not Sean Coleman. So it sounds like he was just recently signed. I don't have him on the list at the moment.
The 3rd and 17. The Cowboys are shy of the first down. Devin Smith able to pull that one in.
Like Tim Harris had a shot at this. Tim Harris Jr. Make him White move around the pocket. Yeah, Harris wanted that. That was a good read on the ball and a good break. Just goes right by his hands.
Reynolds able to clean it up. It is 4th and 2 and the Cowboys.
Really good catch by Reynolds.
touchdown catches. 49ers 14, Cowboys 9.
I'm liking some of these local broadcasts. They're having, they're not showing commercials. So we're getting to see what happens on the field, and we got to see Beathard was throwing some practice balls on the side before the play starts. It's nice to see this kind of stuff. For someone who doesn't get to go to games very often, it's kind of nice to see what's going on the sidelines and by teams and how guys are getting ready and what they're prepping for.
You can train like a pro, or you can train like Tim Ryan at 49ers Fit, a brand new 40,000 square foot training facility located at Westgate Center in San Jose. They try 7 days free. So visit 49ersfit.com for more information.
That place has got everything.
I knew you've been there. CJ Beathard having a very strong quarter. Defensive line swarms there. Another penalty, probably a hold on the 49ers and run by Brandon Wilds.
And they're in bad spots situationally on the field, in scoring position or backed up. Not a lot of tolerance for penalties, but when they're in these positions, they will really get
There are multiple fouls by the
coach
offense
irritated.
on the play. Holding number 76. That penalty's declined. Holding number 71. That penalty's accepted. Half the distance. First down.
That's 3 holding penalties on Willie Beavers tonight. He came in for Sean Coleman after Sean hurt his ankle. That's just a grab there around the neck.
Yeah, and you saw Ross Reynolds also had his hands across the chest of the defensive lineman. And what the Cowboys have done is they've stunted a lot with those guys up front.
San Fran gets the line quick.
Up in one spot, coming back against the
First and 15 from their 5.
First and 15 now, wide stretch run to Wilds. Not much there.
He's got fresh legs, that guy.
49ers signed him today. So this is a situational football team. That if this was a real game,
Wilds with a carry. They just signed him today. I'm surprised he's playing so much.
at least drive it out to move them away for field position. And a penalty, a hold on the first down is really damaging.
Yep, you're absolutely right. You'd love to go on a 10-play drive here and start chewing on that clock. Lead.
Straight drop from under center for Beathard. It's Poindexter, the big receiver. Trying to fall away after the Cowboys. They'll tackle him shy of the first down. Bringing up the third down and short. Sean Poindexter, 6 feet 5 inches tall.
Good protection there by the offensive line. Ball comes out quick, but a nice little throwing lane there developed for C.J. Beathard to find Sean Poindexter.
Third down for Kyle Shanahan. He did throw the touchdown pass to Jalen Hurd on third down on the back shoulder fade.
Malik Henry right here in the slot. That dude can fly.
He can also backflip. Here's a throw over the middle. Richie James Jr.'s got it. Should be
Richie James, a nice little 5-yard gain here. First down. On a 3rd and 4.
out of a stack formation with Henry in front. Combination route. Beautiful.
Oh,
And it's a good read by Beathard.
Looked like he had a break on the football, thought about pick six, and hesitated just for a second. Got bit because Richie James on the in cut right behind him caught him.
Richie James Jr. and a roster battle to make the 53. Inside zone by the Wilds. Look at the wide receiver.
Dallas swallows up that stretch run to the left for Brandon Wilds.
Typically teams are going to keep 5, some will keep 6. With the injury with Trent Taylor, they're going to end up keeping an extra guy.
So a combination of wide receivers and running backs. Along the Wilds on second down. Run first attack. You're right about the first pace.
He is a bulldozer. I mean, that run he had early in the game and right up the gut ran over Tavon Brady before Jalen Hurd ran him over for the touchdown. The thing about Childs is he knows, and I think that's why he was an easy signing for Kyle Shanahan. He was an undrafted free agent to Atlanta, Kyle's last year in Atlanta, so he knows the system. He's been with the New York Jets, played some games with them, was active and up on the active roster, and you can say the same for him with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So feather his cap knowing Kyle Shanahan's system.
35 for Beathard for a lob one down the sideline. Richie James Jr. will make the over-the-shoulder.
Nice touch pass from Beathard. Oh, but a hold's going to bring it back. That's rough. Yeah, that was a hold. Lineman just DeLauro trying to catch up with the blitzing linebacker was late, takes the hold. If he didn't take that hold, Beathard would have got laid out.
Usually the first preseason game you get a lot of penalties. Cowboys have not
Yeah, so far 18 penalties between the two teams. For the games that I've focused on so far, it's been flag after flag after flag.
a lot of good tape for the coaching staff to get after the players on these areas.
Beathard drops it down to Wilds. He slips and they're going to be punting. It looks like Beathard hurt his finger. Now he hurt his right thumb on that last throw. He's opening and closing his thumb. Yeah, he did something to that thumb. Oh, Reggie Davis with a good return, but Greenlaw has made some big hits tonight. Dre Greenlaw. Yeah, he's a 5th round pick this year. Linebacker. He's made some impressive plays tonight. Also some not so nice plays tonight, so be interesting to see where he fits during the season. I will be back in a moment, guys. Big Rise pulling a fat guy, and he's going to eat on stream. Nothing more fun than that, right? I know there's a lot of fluff pieces and stuff. They're talking about Richard Sherman looking good in the preseason, in training camp. He said he's not hurt. I'd like to see it in a game. That guy was very, very good for lots of years in Seattle, but it didn't show last year in San Fran. I'm hoping he's healthy. It'd be nice to have a healthy Richard Sherman so San Francisco could be a little bit better. And this D-line sure helps a lot. San Fran with a strip sack. The best thing is, 2 San Francisco players are fighting over the ball. DeMontre Moore didn't realize it. That's maybe the highlight for me tonight. Reynolds with the sack, fumble.
Happen to those who run to the ball and hustle till the snap to whistle, and DeMontre Moore is able to get himself a fumble recovery.
DeMontre Moore looks good. Again, he played in the Alliance of American Football this winter for the San Diego Fleet, so he's played a lot.
From the looks of it from San Fran, we get to see Spate come in. Wilton Spate.
Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, and on to UCLA. Need to run this clock out if they can.
I was going to say, we're probably going to see a lot of Brandon Wilds here to finish this game. The guy that San Francisco just signed. We got to see a lot of him on the last drive. But San Fran's kind of put up the white flag. Wilton Spate's in the game. He's the 4th-string quarterback right now for San Francisco out of UCLA. Again, more from Fields.
Sure, he's ready after that chest bump.
Look at the arm here off his back foot.
Started 12 games that year for Michigan and put up some nice numbers.
And he went on to UCLA. 7 games there. 5-game start, threw for over 1,500 yards. 2nd and 18. Spade off his back foot, a screen out left. Cowboys are over that one as well. Brandon Wilds getting a lot of touches tonight.
Yeah, he may be, and again, just got here, just first time today that he put on a uniform for the 49ers, and those screens take a lot of timing and synchronicity, and maybe should have kept it outside on that and would have picked up a few extra yards, but he has had a nice game.
49ers not playing tonight, Matt Breida nor Tevin Coleman. We haven't talked about Tevin Coleman.
No,
what an addition he's going to be to the offensive backfield.
I'll wait to see him play for this
on the outside zone.
He can catch like you can't believe.
There's a bubble screen to Richie James Jr., great broken field runner. Trying to get in the field goal range here was the thought on that call. Maybe not so much to pick up the first down.
Yeah, they're going to do it. Robbie Gould.
It'll be Robbie's first action of the night. 49ers re-signed him to a 2-year contract, 2 years guaranteed. It could go out to 4 years. Right up against the deadline of July 15th. And he just doesn't miss
Robbie Gould out for a kick.
as a 49er the 2 years he's been here.
They're saying it's his first kick of the game, even though it's 14-9, unless they went for 2, and I just didn't realize.
He has the best 2-year span in the history of the NFL, the 2 years here, and the second best is the year he had with the Giants before. The year
He's laughing because he hit that like a duck. All right, San Fran's up 8. This game's kind of over. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Remember to check out BigRyanTheFatGuy.com. We're going to be doing a picks contest this year, so remember to get your picks in week 1. See if you can beat us, making your picks every week, and we'll see if you can beat all the fans of Big Ryan the Fat Guy. All right, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. You guys have a good night.